소비 선수 사이리 기가 막히거든요.
LCK 미드는 빠삭합니다 제가. 그래서
근데 조란이 없네?
사일러스 벤이 좀 필요한 목록들만.
이번에는 LCK 승률 관련된 퀴즈인데요. 저희 LCK 선수 5분을 카드를 준비를 했는데요. 승률이 높은 선수부터 나열을 해주시면 됩니다. LCK 승률만 집계했어요. 국제대회 포함 아니에요. 여기서 LCK 승률이 높을 것 같은 선수부터 나열해주시면 됩니다.
진짜 승률이 높은 선수.
가신 분도 있네요. 어디선가 지켜보고 계실 그분의 얼굴도 보이네요.
짜오 하면은 또 오너 선수 오자룡.
1번
오너 선수.
일단 오너 선수가 1등일 것 같고
오너 선수가 좀 제가 상대할 때도 좀 힘들었던 기억이 있어가지고
곧 시작하겠습니다.
몇 퍼센트 정도일 것 같으세요?
제 진짜 승률 한 75%.
아 얘를 좀 알아? 아 맞나 얘가?
왜 고민하세요?
오너 진짜오는 또 믿고 보는 거긴 한데 많이 졌던 것 같은데 올해도. 네, 빼야겠다. 캐년 선수 다음에 이제 오너. 아주 쟁쟁한데 여기 영준이가 있네요. 그럼 일단 영준이 너는 마지막으로 가라.
왜 마지막으로 보내셨어요?
뭐 영준이 짜오 뭐 이기는 걸 많이 못 본 것 같은데 내 같은 팀으로.
일단 영준이는 꼴등 박아놓을게요. 영준이 꼴등 박아놓고 제가 영준이 신짜오로 이긴 기억이 별로 없거든요. 아 영준이 이런 걸로 절대 성원 안 하고 오히려 알고 있을 겁니다.
또 영준이가 꼴찌라면서
형들 나를 그렇게 생각해줘서 너무 고맙고 다음에는 약간 럼블 승률이나 노틸러스 승률 그런 걸로도 한번 탑5를 제작해보면 한번 좋을 것 같아요.
저는 근데 저만의 이론이 있는데 그 챔피언마다 또 닮은 사람이 잘하거든요. 되게 용맹해 보이는 분이 1등을 할 것 같고 용혁이는 막 그렇게 용맹하게 생기진 않아서 신짜오 관상은 아니고 재기발랄한 좀 리신 바이 쪽이 잘 어울리는 친구라서 좀 아래쪽에 일단 깔고요. 스폰지 선수 좀 더 미남상 약간 제이스 같은 걸 잘하시지 않을까. 용혁이가 좀 더 짜오를 잘하니까 저희 팀이니까. 그리고 이제 와 이거 사진만 봐도 정말 웅장해지는데 피넛 선수를 일단은 가운데에 놓고 이제 오너 캐니언 이 두 분만 남았는데 오너 선수는 짜오가 거의 시그니처라서 저희도 T1 상대로 짜오밴을 많이 했던 것 같거든요. 그래도 오너 선수가 1등일 것 같네요. 그리고 오너의 신짜오 5짜오는 못 맞긴 해요. 진짜 5짜오 1등으로 하겠습니다.
바꿀 기회를 드릴까요?
관상이니까.
저희 어머니가 또 선의는 호의는 잘 받으라고 해서 바꾸도록 하겠습니다. 용혁아 짜오를 왜 이렇게 못하지? 꼴찌야?
나 짜오 승률 높았던 것 같긴 한데.
이렇게 제출하도록 하겠습니다.
정답입니다.
우와!
이거 럼블이 좀 되나요? 그리고 실비가 많은데 마무리가 되나요? 진짜 오가? 아니 오너 아니 오너가! 오너랑 아니 뭐해 와 계속 그래도 돼.
아 그래요? 어이구 조금 압도적이네.
든든합니다.
다른 팀원들도 오너 선수를 1등으로 놓을까요?
이거는 뭐 100%.
이거 좀 유감이다. 그냥
땡! 오답입니다.
아니 판스가 그렇게 많은데 승률이 그렇게 높다고요? 이거는 진짜 예측 못했어요.
본인의 신짜오는 그럼
그건 이제 다른 분들이
존경하고 있습니다. 다.
와. 짜오 말고 다른 챔피언 꼴등에 있네요.
그래도 탑5
아 좋은데요. 감사합니다.
유용하게 써주지.
참고로 3등과 4등 선수는 승률이 똑같아요.
패트리 사이트 폭발시. 이것도 젠지가 아마 1등 확률이 높을 것 같은데.
다 사이를 다 잘하시는 분들인데 골랐네. 사실 사일러스 하면은 일단 생각나는 선수가 2명 있는데요. 자, 초비와 제카 선수가 있는데 근데 또 페이커 선수가 사일러스 스킨을 또 만들어서 되게 잘하시기도 하고. 클로저 사일러스 못 막는데 진짜. 일단은 초비 선수 1등이 맞는 것 같아요. 일단 젠지의 어떤 정규 시즌 성적이 아무래도 굉장히 좀 좋다 보니까 2등? 근데 페이커 어렵다. 너무 어렵다.
이거는 좀 솔직히 감이 잘 안 와서 느낌대로 가겠습니다. 느낌대로 이렇게 가겠습니다. 이렇게 가겠습니다. 이렇게 가겠습니다. 이렇게. 아니야. 이렇게 가겠습니다.
있습니다. 초비, 제카, 쇼메이커, 페이커, 조커 클로저 선수로 순서 들어있습니다.
정답입니다.
맞아요?
이렇게 한번. 네.
한 번만 더 바꿀 기회 드릴게요.
저를 낮출게요. 아까 용역을 낮춰서 정답을 받았기 때문에 사일러스는 제카시.
정답입니다.
이야!
유일한 만점자 맞으셨어요?
뭐 번복을 두 번 하긴 했지만 감사합니다. 네.
또 쇼메이커 선수가 사일러스 엄청 좋아하시잖아요.
아 저는 정말 좋아하고 제가 조냐 댄스 창시자라서
쇼메이커 사일러스 그 조냐 썼을 때 큐 막 저한테 안 해줬으면 좋겠어요.
어림도 없고요. 신나게 해드릴게요.
같은 리드 팀원이 보기에 초비 선수의 사일러스 뭔가 믿음직할 것 같은.
뭔가 사일러스 하면 바로 떠오르는 장면이 딱 나르고 훔쳐서 강가에서 막 4인공을 했었나? 그게 영화가 기억에 남습니다.
상대로 만나면 제일 무서운 사일러스.
아, 이게 뭔가 근데 이미지 때문에 그런지 모르겠는데 제카 선수 하면 막 사일러스 그런 느낌이 있잖아요.
나 허수는 같은 팀으로 허수가 맨날 저한테 사일러스 강의해줬던 거 기억이 나고요. 전 별로 필요 없는데 자꾸 라인전 디테일 알려줘가지고 사일러스 디테일에 대해서 좀 많이 알게 됐고요. 그리고
미니 시각 잘 봐야 된다 생각해서 저는 페이커 선수가 잘 본다고 생각해서 페이커 선수로 하겠습니다.
기억에 남는 플레이.
페이커 선수 롤드컵 때 BLG 상대로 사일러스 기억에 남습니다.
걸어야 돼요. 일단 열어주세요. 이거 깔고 아니 이게 영어가 가보자. 네. 이유가 조금만
이 실제로 생긴 것도 비슷하게 생겼겠다. 제카 선수의 사일러스가 체급이 있고 좀 무섭지 않나?
요 놈이 이제 4연솔 킬을 했어요. 제 눈으로 봤어요, 이거는. 건우를 1등으로 승급시켜줘야죠. 제 마음속 1등으로 할게요.
카나비 선수도 또 신짜오 하면 또 빠질 수 없잖아요.
신짜오 잘하긴 하는데 일단 저는 좀 약간 다른 맛 느낌 나서 신짜오가 가라보다 버드라 같은 걸 좋아하는 다른 맛인 것 같습니다.
그러니까 이 중에 이제 또 들어야 되잖아요.
일단 목표는 1등이긴 한데 근데 이제 원호 선수가 워낙 잘하다 보니까 이 정도만 가도 되게 좋은 것 같습니다. 최소한 이 중간까지는 가자. 네.
이들에게 좀 선전포고를 해보시면 어떨까요?
대회에서 이겨보겠습니다.
시콘 생일 축하합니다. 하나생명 파이팅!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the LCK Cup. I am Atlas, joined by Wolf, and we are here for the end of Super Week. And I often say things like, we've saved the best till last. This is for all of the marbles. These have, there's so many stakes. Like, it's basically a dinner or something like that. I often say these things. It's really true today, like super duper true today. I often say it with like DRX and Bro, and like that's a bit facetious. This is not. This is like actually everything.
Yeah.
HLE are on the verge of being eliminated from the tournament. It's ridiculous.
If you take a look at the standings, you'll see 3 teams are impacted by today's results. They are Hanwha Life Esports, KT Rolster, and Breon. These 3 teams may or may not be going to playoffs, play-ins. That is to say, based on the result of this game, if Gen.G wins with a 3-0, they will move up to first place in Group Baron. We'll have a +11 scoreline, remaining undefeated alongside T1, who took the win over D plus 3-0 yesterday. Each and every team in Group Elder has fallen to both of these teams. They have, no one has been able to crack them. The last one is Hanwha Life Esports, but Hanwha have already lost to 2 other teams, so they'll drop down to 2 and 3 with a loss here. You see where the points are. That is the big thing. If they are lower than KT, their group also is defeated, and they will not go to play-ins. There are other scenarios here as well in terms of game time as well, as you can see here.
Yep, here's the ranking criteria, which we need to go into today because everything is so incredibly close. Match wins, that is like series wins. The 2 and 2 that you see for HLE is a representation of that. Game score is then afterwards, and that's the game differential based on whether or not they've gone to 3 games and things like that. Head-to-head record then comes into play, and then the winner-over-winner points, calculating winner among the teams within the same group. The calculation is based on the 5 teams within the groups. It's very complicated, and then it goes to average victory time, which is what we need to go into here. Here is the criteria, and this is the ridiculous part, because I said that HLE are on the verge of elimination. What they could also do is reach first in their group. So they could either be the top team in Group Elder or eliminated, based on whether they 3-0 or get 3-0'd here today.
The crazy thing is, they need 1 win to prevent their elimination, but it has to be in under 34 minutes and 43 seconds.
I love how it's
reversible.
palindromic.
Yeah,
that is
reversible.
so cool.
Even if you turn it around, it's not going to make it easier for Hanwha Life Esports. Right now, the average game time in the LCK is 32 minutes and 39 seconds. So there's a little bit of leeway there, but Gen.G have the fastest game times of anyone in the LCK, and they have not lost a single game all tournament long.
This team's really good. It's basically what Wolf is trying to say here. It's going to be very difficult to crack. However, having to take 1 game off them is something that HLE have been able to do in the past, right? They're no stranger to one another. Of course, this is like 2025 LCK Finals rematch. This is the World's Quarterfinals rematch. These teams have met each other in best-of-5s many, many times. However, things have changed a little bit over on the side of HLE, and we'll see whether that is going to be enough to get them over the line without, you know, Peanut's leadership, things like this, you know, Viper being that reliable late-game carry that they have. Gumayushi is there. You'd think that the World Finals MVP should be able to get them across the line, but I don't know whether many people will be predicting that they can here against Gen.G. And yeah, that's a lot of 3-0s. Our entire team except G-Sun are all 3-0s.
And I think if you extended this to a best-of-7, I think they would all be 4s.
I would agree.
Most people think right now Hanwha Life Esports is not a strong team. We've given them a lot of time. We've given them a lot of excuses, right? Like it's rebuild roster. There's a lot of time that needs to be readjusted to those pieces you just mentioned, Peanut and Viper being gone here. And yet, with the time they've been given, they haven't been able to solve it yet. Now, fortunately for them, because they are defending LCK champions and we're the first seed leading their group, their match is the final day. So they've had even more time to prepare for this matchup here. It is the last match of the Super Week. And so we'll have to see what they've learned, how they've improved, and what their approach to this series is going to be. You and I had an interesting conversation right before this where I was like, you know, if you know most people are predicting against you, you know you have to win by a certain game time, how much does that weigh on you in the game?
Oh, yeah.
Because your answer was, well, you have to just come to the mindset you're going to win this series. But when every person, every analyst is saying there is no way they are going to win the series, and most are saying they're not going to win a game, what kind of mindset does it take to bring to a day like this, a packed crowd here at the Chijiji Global Park, that is going to allow you to know you can do it, like know you can win in under 34-43 and make it out of this group? The format is so unforgiving.
It's crazy.
They've got to keep their mental straight today.
Yeah, they got to dig deep, and I think the best way to do it is to just ignore it. Like you said, like that's what I mentioned before. You need to come in with a winner's mentality. I love Umpty mentioning this a couple of days ago on The Space, talking about what Spawn says, right? Like you need to go into a game knowing that you can win. Don't make loser plays. And they need to just focus. And there's so many of these players on this team that just don't seem very perturbed, right? Like I think Kanavi is one of them. He's going to play the same way no matter what. Zeus, same thing. I don't think that these players should let things get under their skin. However, you know, Zeka can sometimes fold under pressure. Sometimes he becomes a superhuman under pressure. So we'll just have to see what this is going to mean for HLE and what the evolution is going to look like. Right at first selection will go over to HLE. They have decided to go for first pick on red side, and Genji will then be on blue. I don't think they're going to be too worried about it. I think counterpick for Genji sounds pretty powerful. And so coming out of the gate, I don't think there's any real inherent advantages outside of being able to choose the first champion. I think the draft is going to really tell us what both of these teams are looking for here today.
Very much a banger game one we were leading into here. You know, with everything unlocked before Fearless starts to eat away at champion pools.
Yep.
We've seen so many of these game one drafts this week that have been very heavy in terms of high tier picks, and game one is usually the game where the draft feels the most even as a result of that. The deeper we go, the wider champion pool team and the team that knows how to draft compositions generally gets a pretty big edge. And so Hanwha Life Esports get stomped here. I don't think it gets easier for their opportunities the longer the series goes on.
Oh no. And I think Genji are like pretty scoutable this tournament at the moment. They haven't necessarily been playing a massive array of different champions. There's a smattering of like 3s and 2s, and mainly like there's not a whole lot of one-offs for this team, right? Renekton, Rumble, Gwen, these are the things that Keen has really been focusing on. Xin Zhao, Wukong, still very similar stuff for Canyon. The Anivia's cropped up a whole lot more here for Chovy, but otherwise it's all the other mid laners that we've been seeing throughout the tournament. I think HLE, maybe they could be the team that throws a wrench into the works. Maybe Coach Homer has some of these ideas from the LPL, him and Kanavi cooking something up. We know this is what Kanavi does. He's a trendsetter. He's the guy that blazes the trail, you know? And I want to see some of that flavor moving into this one because they need to shake things up. I think you have to cheese the win. Like, honestly, like, what if they do that? Think about it in StarCraft terms, right?
Sure.
Sometimes you just get that cannon rush game. They need the cannon rush game. They need to 6-pull. 6-pull right now.
It would definitely do wonders for the game time.
Yes, and that's exactly what they need. We'll see what can happen here as we are into the draft for game number 1 of this best of 5. This one is, as I mentioned earlier, for all of the marbles. You're just tuning in. If HLE lose this 0-3, they are out of the tournament. If they win 3-0, they are first in their group and straight through to playoffs. Remember, there is 2 teams from the winning group that goes straight through to the playoffs, and there is 1 team that goes straight through to the playoffs on the other side if you are the losing group. And then in that losing group, one of the teams is eliminated. That is either going to be HLE or KT of Group Elder, or Bro of Group Baron. So if you're a Bro fan, which I know most people are, that means that you're hoping HLE wins this series today. Okay, that's it's another thing to bear in mind. It's another stake that we are adding to the dinner table.
Wait, no, if you're a Bro fan, you want them to lose so that your group wins.
Oh, right, yes, no, sorry, the other way around.
Yes,
but it is a bit confusing.
It is a lot of
You need Genji to win, so that's relatively easy.
But, I mean, Bro have won 2 games this entire tournament, but they might, through the power of T1 and Genji dominating in their group, be able to make it through. As Malphite will be the final ban here, and we will see if Azir will be matched here. Varus was banned already.
Yeah, I think the Azir ban makes some sense. We'll see whether Chovy's just like, no, I don't really feel like playing Azir, so like let's get it out of the way.
I mean, he might also have a counter pick prepared here for it, but I think that they're using this time to discuss what their response to first picks will be, and they definitely will ban the Azir. Oh, instead.
Rumble is more important.
Okay. So, I mean, this is the power of this new Varus that's cropped up. That is just really a must ban right now. If you are on second pick, that means that they have to make a different choice here. And so there's a lot of counter picks to Azir, but none of them have been doing incredibly well here at the LCK. The Sylas, the Akali are 2 picks that are very meta right now. But he may just simply say, I'm going to play Ryze, and I don't care. Or I'm going to play Taliyah. We're going to play Taliyah Pantheon. Nico going to get locked in here first. And that is a strong bottom lane pick here for Duro.
They might even just lock away the bottom lane. They could theoretically do that. Yanara is up and available. Obviously, there is still a Vi, Kanavi, pretty good Vi player. So instead, going to pick that one away. I actually really like this. Does mean that now you can lock away your bottom lane if you would like, still hide your solo lanes, and allow Chovy and Keen to get a little bit of extra information. I don't know whether Kanavi is really what we're going to see, as Jarvan is up and available.
That would have been a cannon rush.
Yeah, that would have definitely been a cannon rush. As Corki also, I mean, that kind of fits. This is a pretty decent core. We've seen this many times. I think you've spoken about it many times, the good old Corki Azir.
I just think that the Corki loves to play with a strong laning partner, and it's going to be a little bit tougher to get the advantages that you're looking for into the early pick Nico here. But it is a strong power pick and also denies Corki Nico from Ruler and Duro. Corki has, in my mind, been Ruler's best champion since returning to Korea. It's just incredible on that pick, and has an incredible win rate right now, so it's a strong denial pick. Kanavi, really a lot of considerations here. I mean, he went through almost every meta jungler and then even considered the Zed. Now here you can go for the Taliyah pick, or you can lock away your bottom lane and make sure that you have a lot of power there. Chovy's champion pool is wide enough to where I think that going for the bottom lane pick here, if they have one really strong in mind, they want to dominate this lane with like the Yanara, is definitely a plan you can go for. I think almost every other team, in fact, I will go as far as to say I think any other team in the LCK locks Taliyah there, but Genji says no.
I'm so glad that they do as well. Maybe that's why they're undefeated, because they decide not to trip over the rocks that they've put out themselves. Taliyah just hasn't necessarily hit the same way so far on this patch. But Yanara and Nico, pretty powerful there towards the bottom side. You can now do things like this. Ban away the Nami, which has been able to shore up the bottom lane for the Corki. Make sure that you can win, you can get through that. We saw this, you know, over the last few days, actually. Bottom lane or bust has been the aim of the game here. And if you are not able to stand toe-to-toe, then you just kind of get rolled over.
Yeah, it's been the name of the game for this meta, for sure. Wonder what they'll ban here now. They love an Alistar to be locked in, so they certainly won't be taking that one away. Maybe a Bard. Yeah, that's the safest range support that they could have tried to pair with here. Delight's showcased he has the talent to play the pick.
Yep.
And maybe you ban Sylas here if you're Hanwha Life Esports now. That would allow you to then play the Alistar. You know, and I don't know if you really want to play Alistar into Nico Yanara, but at least you have more of a front line with that. If that was your game plan, you won't have to deal with Chovy, Sylas into the Azir. It's a really tough call here. Like, you could ban Ryze as well if you're worried about that. The Akali is another one of those classic counter picks to the Azir, but I think Genji, looking for counter pick on that one, probably just going to send Keen his pick right here.
Yeah, I'm actually really hoping that they decide to go with a top lane lock-in, even though it's blind, even though it feels a bit weird, right? Because there's already an Azir showing. I think being able to threaten the Sylas is so important. This is just genius, because now you don't know where it's going.
Both at the same time.
Oh man, okay. Aurora going to be the pickup here. And I feel like, you know, there was some games at the beginning of the season where we were like, Ryu, like really, is this like early Live Sandbox Ryu? Like, is that what's happening here? But he has since really ramped up, and this is just a kind of masterstroke here. The Rakan actually kind of Sylasable as well. We did see, of course, Faker make that one look pretty famous.
I think picking the Pantheon is not allowed. That would be incredibly risky into the Nico lane, and you're just not going to be able to offer a whole lot in lane at all, and then outside of lane, you're very, very risky with what you're trying to set up in this draft. This is not really a dive draft to utilize the Pantheon's ultimate very well. I like the Rakan a lot more. Just kind of get through the lane, survive, sustain as best as you can, and trade back when you can. as the Cassante will be the option here, which still leaves that Aurora top as a pretty strong, viable option, but they don't have a strong front line if that's what they opt for here. It feels like a denial pick here, expecting the Aurora is going to go into the mid lane. Yep, and I like how HLE Esports rounded this draft out. The bottom lane's going to be a little bit tough. Corki can be point click, ulted obviously by Canyon, so he's not going to be safe.
That's a Viger. I don't know whether that's going to be locked in. However, Duro is hovering it. That's making me a little nervous. The Yone is what I think most people were expecting. And this is kind of brilliant because not only is it a decent lane into the Azir, but you pick it away from Zeka. He cannot play one of his most iconic champions throughout the rest of this best of 5. Remember, guys, HLE need to win one game in under 34 minutes and 43 seconds, right? That's what keeps them alive here in the LCK Cup. They'll make it to the play-ins. If that is the case, they could also be first place in the group and get themselves straight into the playoffs.
The ability to lock down this Yunara is somewhat limited in this draft here for HLE Esports. It's all conditional whether Kanavi can get on top of him. You know, Zeus maybe in some world, or the Emperor's Divide could lock him down. Delight is going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting for engage setup here in this draft. And I also think this draft relies on the performances of Zeka and Gumayushi to be top-notch because they're the scaling damage that has a good front line in this Cassante in order to win the game. Because Genji don't have a strong front line, but Genji, they're the type of team that just wins and decides games through early team fighting, plays a great macro game, and maybe it doesn't matter how tanky any of their champions are. Maybe they could just play some glass cannons here and rip you to shreds early. I think if we put the nameplates on, this draft is terrifying for Genji, but HLE Esports definitely have some tools.
They certainly do. We've seen drafts like this many, many times. It's Delight's Rakan. He is so good at this champion. Zeka has won Worlds on the Azir. Let's see whether it's going to work out as we jump onto the Rift straight into a pause. Sepia mode here for game number 1. Fan chance? Question mark?
Better get your pauses out as soon as possible, you know, to make sure that you don't waste any game time.
Man, I really didn't know what was going to happen there, whether we were going to have the fan chance over the pause or whether it was going to be something else. We do have a little bit of an issue here with Zeka. I think it's slightly audio focused.
It looks like it. Looks like it's related to his box.
Yep. I think they're going to unplug it and plug it back in again, Wolf. That's what I would recommend.
Does seem like that is what's being done right now.
Yep. I mean, I know it's a very technical bit of advice, but that's just what I would go with.
It also is possible that they are checking the connection of the cables.
There is someone underneath the table.
Yeah.
They're not talking to the box to make it fixed.
They're making.
There he is.
Zeka was like, "There's a monster under my." desk. I need somebody.
Can we please tell the guy living under the desk to just move for now?
When Peanut was here, he always made me sure there weren't any. But Kanavi's just trolling me all the time. He keeps saying there are gremlins under the desk.
Kanavi invited his friends and put them under the desk.
I heard there was an LPL top laner down there.
Yep. And actually, that's not how it would work. Peanut would be the one to invite the friends and put them under the desk for him, honestly. Let's get into the game for game number 1.
미니언들이 생성되었습니다.
All right, there we go. Fan chance underway. And here we are, into the game. See whether Chovy's going to be able to find some success here on the Yone into the Azir. Some interesting stuff already. Fleet footwork, but also taking exhaust on the Yone.
Yeah,
Make sure
really
that Zeka can't do too much damage.
Really, really interesting. Also can be quite useful if he gets on top of either Guma or Delight in a team fight and exhausts them, makes it much more difficult for them to retreat, even though they have some inherent safety. The Vi ulti is going to be the main way to lock down that Corki in realistic team fights where he'll be trying to Valkyrie away. We'll still, of course, get caught by that, but the exhaust can be quite useful.
Yeah, kind of like it. And
it's a new Chovy tech, and every time he shows something like this, it kind of becomes standard afterwards, so...
Yeah, it's a little bit worrying. Everyone's just going to be getting tired in the mid lane. Let's find the knockoff there, but so far Zeka has been doing a pretty good job here in this lane. Make sure that Chovy is staying as low as possible. Doran's shield is going to be pretty good, though. Zeka does get this wave shoved in.
A little bit of extra damage back there.
Yep.
Best possible scenario there for Chovy.
Does lose 2 of the minions as they conga line in, though.
Yeah, this is a fun matchup to watch because Zeka can zone Chovy now with that Sand Soldier, and if Chovy wants to go for a trade, it's very difficult to do so. Has to use his shield like that. That's like the best you can hope for in these early Yone levels.
Yep. And he's got a lot of regen, actually, between second wind, fleet footwork, things like this, and the Doran shield. So may not necessarily have to go back just yet, but is obviously going to be on the back foot for the majority of the early game. He's now just looking for Zeka momentarily.
It is actually just such a joy to watch Chovy in these types of scenarios because he's walking such a tightrope with this low health pool, but gets a good trade like that, and it's almost like you're watching it and you're like, is that even possible? And doesn't hit the knockup, obviously, but that was a very impressive exchange by him. And like you say, he doesn't have to back here, and will hold his ground firmly and put the wave right where he wants it.
And actually, yeah, Zeker's been through his potion, so he's going to go for the first reset.
It's actually just insane to watch. Like I'm in awe.
And also just the runes and the item combo for this Yone just feels a little bit unfair. But we've got a teleport coming in as we are fighting for the crab. Slurkle value is kind of massive here as Ruler stacking up that passive. Kanavi might be in trouble now as we don't have the Tangle Barbs connecting. And Chovy, Unbound the Soul, is checking to see where Zeka was. And he is back underneath his turret. Zeus having a horrible time into Aurora. And that is to be expected.
It's cool to see this tech come out with Chovy's exhaust because we've seen, obviously, all of our AP mid laners start to go ghost because of the easier return to lane right now with home guards. So he's just going to say, well, I can get a better summoner as well on this 80 melee mid laner as well and grab it on the Yone. And it's the first of such innovations we've seen here at the LCK. Having a great laning phase. We did see that aggressive crab play. That's the kind of thing you expect from Kanavi and HLE early. They were able to secure the scuttle, and only Delight's heal was expended, and they were not winning the lane, so impressive they were able to get that much.
Yeah, having a look towards the bottom side, Wolf, I'm watching a Yunara win lane, and that is always worrisome. Obviously, this is kind of what we expect with the Rakan versus Nico support matchup. This lane should be pretty good for Yunara. That doesn't stop it from being very rough here for HLE, because we know Ruler is pretty good carrying video games.
Yeah, it's not a happy thing to watch if you're a Hanwha fan.
Yeah, even if it is expected, it still doesn't feel great. Stropey going to find a nice little knock up here. And Zeka just dodging what cues he can.
Yeah, I just want to stay on this matchup.
Yeah, I feel like
I've seen enough
this
Nico.
one forever.
Yeah, I've seen enough Nico win lane. I'm tired of it.
Well, we might watch Nico and Yunara just kill them. Oh no, the Slurkle comes down. Gumushi's going to survive, but had to use the barrier. And they are looking somewhat worse for wear, you could say.
I mean, before it looked like, okay, well, I guess that's the end of the aggression here. They're out of tools, but now Gumo, no barrier, and they might just stay for another wave, another plate. Actually, they, in fact, look like they will. Push that one in.
Yep, they get the crash, and that is going to mean a full minion wave will be missed here by Gumayushi, so falling a little bit further into the hole. 300 gold, already the lead here for Ruler. That should be extending as he goes back, grabs himself a cull, and Navi is considering a dragon, but is spotted immediately. Canyon moving on over. They do know that he's in the area, and Chovy is back in base. Does have his Zerk Greaves.
He's gone all the way around, Canyon has here.
This is a bit sneaky.
They try to see him with Phalites. Obviously, it can't reach.
Oh my goodness. Don't.
He could steal this.
Wait. No, there's no way. He's not going to get away with it. Oh, he didn't! Zeka's the one that locks it down as Canyon not even able to flash away. Emperor's Divide comes out, and First Blood will go over to Zeka on this Azir. And that one guy in chat that predicted First Blood got very close, about 20 seconds. So nicely done there. Said they were from the future. They weren't actually from the future, but they got pretty close.
They were pretty close. It was a really risky play there from Canyon, but the rewards would have been massive had he been able to secure that there with Duro coming over to try to chip and mess up the smite timing. That was really clever. I'll watch it again. So Duro's on the edge here, offers that extra bit of damage, but the smite comes through from Kanavi. Zeka secures it, and Canyon was never going to get out of here without using his flash, and so he doesn't waste his flash anyways, because I think he probably dies either way.
Yeah, I think knew that if he had flashed over the back wall, he would have been okay, but wasn't able to get the bit of extra movement speed. As we're going between the worlds, Kanavi might be in a little bit of trouble. Does have the Crescent Guard as Zeus looking for the angle, goes all out as Canyon just dead again. And Keen just wondering what the heck to do. Maybe waiting for Chovy is going to be the option there as he flashes. Does miss the Q. Gets exhausted here. There's that tech you were talking about. Does need to rebind, but Chovy is just dead and Keen doesn't have the range. Kanavi, he's now sitting at 2-0-1, asking, okay, who was supposed to be the favorite here?
Yeah, for real. You know, I will pull the curtains back a little bit and tell everyone about our conversation that we had probably, what, 20 minutes ago, where I said, sometimes Canyon disrespects the enemy jungler. I expect that Hanwha Life Esports can have a win con through Kanavi's early game. I literally told you that, and you were like, yeah, but they might just come back and win anyways, which has been the MO for a lot of these early losses in the jungle for Canyon. As it starts off fine here, obviously, looking for Keen's rotation over. It's a fight for the Skull Crab here a second time. But Kanavi can buy so much space here, and this is a great play from Zeus, defends him there. And then Zeus pulls Canyon away. There's just no way for Keen to impact that play. And Chovy doesn't have his ultimate, used it in the mid lane. And exhausts here, but they just do not have the damage.
Yeah, and Kane just a little bit slow on the rotation back as well. Kanavi getting that passive shield at exactly the right time. Oh, actually, no, the shield from Zeus, not passive shield. He's not the one playing Vi. That was Zeus being able to just stand beside him, make sure that he's going to be okay.
Zeus did a lot of work in that fight for an early game Cassante, but
an early game Cassante that's like 35 CS down.
Yeah.
The
I haven't really seen that number yet.
Pretty absurd.
The number is pretty not good for the Cassante at the moment.
But the number that is good is the fact that there is a 600 gold lead here for HLE. They have themselves a killing spree when it comes to the kills so far. And let's see whether they can keep holding Gen G down. They will need to, even if they do have this composition that scales beautifully towards the late game. As a team, I feel like Gen G scale better.
Yeah, I mean, a whole item up basically right now, or component up, is this Xin Zhao, which doesn't necessarily mean all too much in terms of jungle, but he can kind of run the rift a little bit here. And the bottom side prio that Ruler and Duro had is kind of fallen by the wayside. Now you can see even a plate was picked up there in return.
Yep. Chovy unbinds the soul, but then Sand Soldiers set up once again. Conquering Sand's pretty powerful, but Chovy clears out the wave and will be a-okay. 600 gold though, the lead for Zeka.
It looked very good for Hanwha in this first game, despite some of the earlier leads that we did see. They were all minuscule, classic Gen G, laning leads. And now, definitely looking like a much more playable game here.
Yeah.
Especially if, see those grubs get secured here. Looks like they may just give them up, though.
Yeah, Canyon actually just took one of them and then left. Went and grabbed a crab. And is going to now take away the second. Might actually stick around for all of them. I don't see why not.
Yeah, if he can get this one without smiting, which he should be able to, then he should be able to get all three.
Yep. We can see the Kanavi is on his Raptor camp right now. May not necessarily be going over there. As with these two minions trying to hold the wave, keep Gen G's bottom lane as safe as possible. I mean, this is where the danger lies, right? Because this is the lane that is the most volatile, the most dangerous. And if Gen G can keep themselves safe, then Ruler will always be a win condition, right? That is just how it's going to go.
Also, they now have 3 grubs for side laning Yone and side laning Aurora, which is really, really good and really powerful. The Aurora obviously already has a lead, so the grub pickup feels fantastic. And had Canyon's first gamble paid off and they had stolen the dragon, he would feel really good about Gen G's position, even if they were down 0-3. But as it is, it's a fairly even game. Hanwha, though, a lot of small advantages.
Yep.
And that kill for Zeka is one of the big ones, as he will be a threat in sides later on himself, potentially, if given enough time.
Not to mention Xin Zhao. I just feel like this champion in the mid game, if you have a lead, is so incredibly oppressive. And he is well and truly set up. And Kanavi, like, he plays like he is a 2-0-1 Xin Zhao every game, no matter what champion he's on.
Well, it's fun to me, this matchup between Canyon and Kanavi, because Canyon was kind of trying to do some early scrapping and early trickery, and Kanavi's like, I grew up in the LPL.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think this is really where you want to try to fight me, my man. So he will look to get second dragon here, and will be successful. No contest, really.
Oh, another Cloud Soul as well. Feels good. So that is going to give a bunch of extra movement speed. We'll see whether Gen G can contest for the next one or whether it's Cloud Soul point here for HLE. But Double Dragon, always good news.
We have had so many games where Kanavi runs the early game here in LCK Cup, and they lose anyways. And I think the reason why is because the coordination hasn't been there in team fights for Hanwha Life Esports thus far. We've had a few games where Guma's getting greedy, he gets called out as well, or he has a bad fight. But for the most part, it's just not being able to fight as a 5-man unit. So if you're a Hanwha fan, you're probably also right now fairly aware that this could go south in a moment's notice, but everything in the early game is going pretty well.
Yeah.
2 dragons stacked, significant advantages elsewhere. The lead that Zeka was able to pick up feels great. Kanavi is firing on all cylinders so far, so hoping that, what's changed since their last matchup? Has the coordination improved? They've all spoken about it in interviews when they've had the opportunity to, like, coordination needs to improve. They're still getting used to this new roster. That's what we're going to find out here, because they are set up for success in so many ways.
Yeah, we've certainly got a game on our hands in this one. And right now, HLE are leading the charge. A couple of Drakes and a 1.5k gold lead is nothing to scoff at. But that is going to be Kraken Slayer done here for Ruler. He's about to cash in that cull as well in 18 stacks time. So that means this Yunara is well and truly on her way. Some weirding being utilized here for Keen, and this lane is just not fun here for Zeus at all, as we can see.
The last time we had these two teams play a best-of-5 against each other in an LCK Cup, we saw the Vayne come out in the top lane. We did have to do a cosplay.
Yeah.
I wonder how interesting these top lane matchups are going to get here. Is one thing to mention is Zeus has his Rooker, but that's not very useful against a Yone or a Yunara later on, so he's losing the lane here still. Has to itemize against this Aurora to survive, but that item feels fairly useless later on. I mean, obviously, when the Aurora comes knocking, it'll still be useful in that case, but the main threats to kill him are AD damage, so...
Yeah. And a bit of mixed damage out of Chovy, I guess, but it's mainly, this is just for lane. And right now, you can see he needs it. Keen is going to use his Leandris pretty effectively. I actually do like that. Into tanks, this item feels pretty powerful, as Zeka is just doing his very best to make Chovy's life difficult. But quest completed. The Berserkers being upgraded feels pretty nice for Yone. Grabbing a little bit of extra lifesteal.
Kanavi coming back here for another red buff pass. And with the prio that Zeka has right now, I mean, Chovy's whole game plan was kind of messed up by that scrap in the top river that didn't go well. Doesn't have his core item just yet. And so they're just taking away the jungle. But this is par for the course for Kanavi, right? He's been doing this all season long.
No.
And yeah, that's
we panned away instead of doing a zoom in, because we were all baffled.
Well, that's like when a
Mr. Cannon
if a fan favorite character dies, you show the birds.
Yeah. Oh, that was a bit of a rough one. Chovy's also, down almost 20 CS himself. Zeka actually farming this one very effectively, and with that advantage that he picked up, being able to put on a lot of pressure and translate what was an early lead into, a tangible advantage in the lane. With the Blade of the Ruin King completed, Chovy's probably going to feel a bunch better, but Gen.G are going to have to do one of their patented winner team fight and then just kind of have an advantage for the rest of the game maneuvers. That's, I think, what's going to have to happen here if they want to get themselves out of the woods.
Well, now Blade of the Ruin King is finally finished here, and so perhaps that fight will happen on Herald. The Dragon is spawning here in about 70 seconds. And that's when Hanwha Life Esports will be grouping on the bottom side. But for now, Gen.G have full prio. Keen does have teleport, so can TP back, perhaps with upgraded boots here, into this team fight.
Yeah, you can see Ruler actually zoned out of this for the moment. Gumayushi with inside track moving into the river, as Shelly does lose interest in Gen.G, but HLE are there to catch her back up again.
The time it took for Keen to teleport back in lost some of their prio. They were going to deny some farming on the top side, but they're going to need more than that if they're going to take this away. As I say it, though, a bit of a relinquish of control with that wave going through. Zeka decides he needs to get this. Loses a lot of the minions anyways. Like, he only gets 3, and they get the Herald potentially as a result.
Oh, now Delight holding onto his buttons, really wants to use that to try and go for an engage, but Chovy snaps back towards this Rift Herald, down to about 4,000. As we're going between the worlds, Keen is still very dangerous, and Zay's just getting poked down. Kanavi steals away the Rift Herald, but it's a 4-man pop blossom from Turo. He finds the angle, and Keen locks down Delight. Now Zay's going down solo. Emperor's Divide finds Ruler, but he flashes on top of Gumayushi. A gap closing, a zero ultimate. Are you insane, Ruler? And it's a double kill for Canyon. There's that team fight, and it's an ace for Duro.
The call to go in to look for the secure was a risky one. Kanavi is rewarded, but the rest of the team fight is a wash, and that'll also be the Dragon to go over here to Gen.G, and I think you are not typing worth in all chat if you are Kanavi after this one, as that was a bit of an overextension. He has his ultimate as well, and they gave up so much control. for Zeka to get 3 minions. And that's why Gen.G have full prio here and why they have to play this fight the way they do anyways. Now he TPs in, but he's so late. And Zeus, we mentioned it before, he doesn't have any armor. And look at how much damage he takes from Ruler here on the initial salvo. Like, he is just not tanky. To light sacrifice himself to go in. And then as you mentioned, the Emperor's Divide just gives Ruler the opportunity to flash on and finish Gumayushi off. And the coordination was not great on this one, but the setup, I think, was the bigger issue. And Gen.G had all of the control.
Yeah, let's have a look at this from Chobi's perspective. As was trying to block the eye for a moment here, but actually manages to get the outplay onto Kanavi as well. Flashes the win, becomes lightning, snaps back. Oh God, we didn't even notice that because there was a whole team fight happening to the south, and then all of a sudden Chobi just fully outplays Kanavi.
Yeah, just gets a ton of value out of the exhaust as well in that exchange. Really cool.
Yeah,
to see how that played out.
I'm actually like very impressed by our replay team for making sure that they were watching that instead of watching the fun team fight that was happening elsewhere. That 4-man Pop Blossom was pretty good for Enduro, you have to say. But the thing is, like, sometimes I hate like being right, because we were talking about like well, Gen.G will have to do that team fight thing that they do and then just win the game. Well, that's kind of what they just did, and if it's, you know.
Yeah, no, it's...
Yeah.
I mean, when I see Zeus with Kanik, Rookern, and plated steel caps, I just have to think, well, at least he knows that there are two things that he's really weak into, and he's trying to make sure he has the answer for both. He doesn't really have the answer for this Yone, though, and that's a turret down just naturally. Doesn't want to side into the Aurora, I promise you that, but doesn't want to side into the Yone either. This Cassante pick just isn't working out, and the lead for Ruler is 2,000.
Wow.
As Chobi,
Kanavi looking for an angle there, does stop the ultimate from getting Chobi out of there, and that means that he's just dead. Kanavi puts the spear in, and so no side laning here for Chobi for the next little while.
On the cross map.
Oh. Well, let's see whether Zeka can survive, as he does avoid the Vault Breaker, but that means that Canyon doesn't touch him. And so they will just kill this turret. Pop Blossom picks up Zeus as he makes his way in, and now it's 3 versus 1 for him. In the meantime, Yunara is taking a turret in the mid lane, and Zeus is desperately running away. And I would say that is a pretty good cross map.
Yes. They get 2 turrets. They get the top turret, then they get the kill onto Yone, but at the cost of their mid lane on the bottom side, as Kanavi's going to pick up plate gold. He's the only lead left in this game, and he's like, well, I guess I'll get some money. They're going to try to get this mid turret as well. Ruler does show up here, and unfortunately a turret shot is taken. I don't think they get this as much as they want to.
They will eventually, just not now.
Ruler did have to expend his ult, so that's a small victory there as well. Kanavi, he does get the turret, and I think he should get out as well.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of damage being looked for here by Chobi before he snaps on back. As Gumayushi down to about 50% here, fighting against Ruler, but Dura going to turn up, and Delight looking to try and get some vision down. I mean, HLE, not out of it yet, right? It's only 1 dragon picked up here for Gen.G. They did the work, they got the double dragon, and that feels very, very good.
You know, sometimes when you think about these types of compositions, you're like, all right, how do you kill the Corki, right? Like, they've got the exhaust on the Yone, they have Vi, they have Aurora, it's going to slow them down. They have all these threats, but sometimes you don't stop to think about the enemy 80 carry being the one who's going to kill you, because the lead that we have and how much crit damage you do on this patch, how much burst that Ruler is going to have when he presses his R button with the Fiend Hunter bolts, like, he can just kill Guma in like 2 seconds if he gets anywhere near him. So that's even now, because he's so fed, an additional threat that Guma's going to have to deal with in this game.
And he's about 2,000 gold ahead almost, and he's very close to an Infinity Edge. So it is a huge item spike on top of the fact that he's already just very accelerated in this game, cashing in the cull, things like that. It's only about 1,400 before that Infinity Edge will be done.
And the Herald that was stolen.
Hey, there we go.
We'll finally get something done here. We'll take out the bottom turret. The mid turret is, like you mentioned, so low that they think that they should be able to get that one anyways, which I think is a reasonable call, but they haven't gotten it just yet.
Yep. At least Zeka has somewhere to put his Sun Disc, and is going to be putting that one towards that bottom side. Ruler getting very, very close, I could imagine, to picking up his Infinity Edge.
Yeah, I think he just got the pickaxe, so it probably needs a few more waves, but the dragon is the next target, as Kanavi should be fine here, but I don't think they're getting any control over this dragon. They're simply going to have to give it up, and it's 2 Cloud Dragons here too. Genji's composition feels pretty valuable.
A lot of extra movement speed is Keen, trying to be frustrating.
Chovi's soloing this.
Yeah, you were talking about this before, actually, the fact that Genji don't necessarily have a reliable front line. It has to be a fair bit of smoke and mirrors and poke to make this happen. As Flash out there from Duro has to get out of the way of Zeus, but there is the Drake just being taken. HLE just couldn't get into the brush. And face checking this comp is so hard, right? Because Keen, he can do so much burst to whoever's going to be face checking that it's just not worth the risk. Genji will be able to lock down their second Drake of the game.
Yeah, this is a pretty scary composition with extra movement speed. As I don't think I really need to explain that to anyone.
Yeah.
But the Yunara problem just gets bigger and bigger. Delight forced away here, forced to ult.
Yeah, there is the grand entrance, taking a fair bit of damage from Ruler. Just saying, hey, Delight, remember me?
Ruler has, when he gets his third item, they can just do Baron really whenever they want if Honda Life Esports aren't there to respond. So fighting for this vision constantly is going to be very important for HLE. As Delight
that was annoying.
Just getting super annoyed with everything right now.
Yeah, Chovy once again pushing out this bottom lane. We'll be able to head over towards this crab. And we blinked, and then Chovy was ahead in farm. So yes, he's sorted that one out. Ruler, Infinity Edge now done. And these are item spikes that HLE does not want to fight on, okay? They need to bide their time. They need an evolution for this Muramana out of Gumayushi, and probably an extra item or two. He does have himself a serrated Dirk, so still going for that collector on item number 3. And Zeka probably wanting a second item himself. Probably just going to be like a cheeky Rylai's or something like that to come in next.
Yeah, definitely. The arm guard feels great. For the team fight, they're going to need to win somehow miraculously to get back into this game. At those spikes, the itemization here for Zeus leaves a lot to be desired in this game. He is just not that tanky, unfortunately. Yeah. Keen's level 16, by the way, as is noted. He's about a level and a half up, but 2 levels up technically.
Oh, that's ridiculous. As Emperor's Divide going to be used here as Chovy going to have to bounce his way out. Does get a big old shield as Delight catches up to him. Konami is running real fast. Oh, wind barely becomes lightning is now, yes. Chovy actually unbinds the soul, looks for the knock up onto Zeka, doesn't find it. But like you were saying, yes, they can start Baron.
Like, that's you going to send 3 people to kill Chovy when this Yunara with IE's on the other side? I don't think so.
Well, Zeus is going to have to bring Canyon out of the pit, and he does so, and now the rest of Genji needs to zone Gumayushi. However, Canyon just gets back, smites the Baron, and that is going to be secured. Now Delight looking for an angle to get himself in, as Ruler bounces his way out. Pop Blossom connects onto Gumayushi, and he has to get himself out of there. Zeka gets into the fight as Ruler flashes out of the way, dashes to avoid getting knocked up by Delight, and down will go the Rakan. Canyon's getting chased down by Zeus and Gumayushi, but he just vault breaks his way out of there. How do they kill 1 in a 4 versus 5, take the Baron? In the meantime, Chovy's having a rest.
Genji just running circles around Hanwha right now. Hanwha will get the consolation mid-turret here, but this is a disaster. As Chovy, by the way, look at where everyone else is on the side of Genji when this happens. He wants this to happen. He sets this up. Like, everyone is ready to take the Baron, and if he does not get interrupted, like if his ult doesn't get blocked there, he gets out for free, basically. Has to flash, but they're chasing him, and the call is made on the other side to take Baron. Chovy also, by the way, almost gets a kill back because it's insane. Not really almost, but it was...
Yeah, he almost stayed alive for even longer.
Yes, that's really what I'm getting at. I played really well in that follow-up exchange. And then the Baron gets taken here, and there's just no one to close the gap. Like, they cannot get to Ruler, who's frontlining, by the way.
And so there was the dash, and then he gets knocked back by the Crescent Guard, then flashes, and then gets another dash to deal with Delight.
The front
Delight
line
is dead anyway.
For Ruler is Ruler's damage.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're coming close to me, I will just kill you, so
and also, works. Aurora is really underestimated when it comes to her ability to control battlefields with the Between Worlds. You just kind of put it down, and it makes it really difficult to close distance onto Ruler without taking bajillions of damage, not to mention Pop Blossom being there as well. Like, the peeling tools here for Genji are there, even if they are a little bit more flimsy. And now, with this Baron, Chovy looking to dive underneath this inner turret. Plates are just falling left and right. And yeah, Ruler now with the Last Whisper as well as his other 3 items. This is you know, HLE have got another few opportunities. I don't think this game is going to be one of them, even though it is only a 5,000 gold lead. I think when the money is so firmly on Ruler and on to Keen here on the Aurora, just feel like it is getting very, very close. The drain circling has begun.
Yeah, it really has. They've opened up the mid lane completely. They will get their third Cloud Dragon of the game to put them on Soul Point.
This is a pretty good one here for Zeus. Gets himself in a turret. It's going to pull back the gold a little. That is Soul Point, and they run really fast, Wolf.
I just don't know if Zeus, like, what is Zeus' function with this Cassante in this game? Like, there's a stronger front line really in Kanavi here, because he just takes so much damage from everything. He's just not that tanky. He's so behind that he's only level 16 to Keen's 18.
Doesn't it feel terrible as well? Zeka built a Rylai's, and they're going to have 4 Cloud Drakes.
Yeah.
And he's like, yes, but now I slow them. And then the Clouds are like, no, you do not, actually.
I want them to run less fast.
Well, at least then maybe it's just slow resistance, so you don't mitigate any of the extra movement speed. Really, it's just kind of doomed.
Yeah, he really wants to keep Chovy away from him in any way he can. He's asking for Delight's help right now to get Chovy out of this side lane, so he will oblige for now and back away. But that's an IE.
Edge for him too. I think that Ruler probably has Lord Doms on next back if he would like it. As Kanavi is going to get slowed down. Delight is in position to try and engage, but is spotted immediately by Canyon. Has to battle dance over to Kanavi.
I'm not really sure what Hanwha Esports is setting up for in this position. We're very far away from an objective fight, and that could have just lost them the game if they scrapped there. And Chovy rotates down because he has Prio in top lane. It's a longer fight. Like, the game just ends if they get routed for any reason. I think they just need to farm it out here and try to fight for vision on Baron when they can. Like, they have some right now. There isn't really a good choice to make in these kind of lull states we end up in, especially in this meta with no Otacon. You just kind of have to farm and try not to die.
And Ruler hits level 16 and already has Lord Doms completed, so that is 4 items. Having a look on the other side, in comparison, Gumushi has a pickaxe.
Okay, this is tricky. Delight's going to TP for the flank here. Unfortunately, there's nothing to fight for. Gen G are not going to take any risks.
Yeah. And Chovy just unbinds the soul. He can wander around wherever he wants and then snap back if he feels like it. You can see now Keen was wrapping around for a potential flank angle. 3 minutes on this Dragon, but it's a minute until the Baron is up and available again. And so expect to see Gen G head towards these side lanes, try and pressure out HLE, make another one of those mistakes, because we saw how quickly they took the Baron if given the opportunity. And I don't see why they don't just go for that one more time. Just requires more resources from HLE than they have at this point in time. As Kanavi goes in, there's still 2.5 minutes, guys, on this Dragon, so we don't need to fight right now, but sometimes you just want a river ramp, and that's what we're doing right here.
Keen's
happy.
happy.
Has the inside track.
Keen's happy to just keep burning away at those health bars with his Leandries as well if they just play it slow. And just like that, a huge wave pushes through the mid lane, and they're like, all right, well, you guys thought you were going to fight for vision there for some reason 2 minutes before. I guess we'll just take all of your topside jungle and keep side lane on the top side as well.
Yep, and just don't allow them to get back into the jungle over here. 15 seconds on the Baron. Chovy going to push up this top wave. And the rest of HLE are freshly off a reset.
Like, look at the Baron spawn here, and HLE have to run over because they have no vision whatsoever. Run over here and check this out, and that comes with consequences.
Yep, Circle connects on to Kanavi. Not quite able to get themselves towards the pit. Might be able to get a control ward over, though. We'll just have to see. As Keen with a big old shield and a very fancy hat. 203 on this Aurora, man. The Keen test has gotten more difficult.
Chovy can basically solo Baron if given enough time. They do have to respond. Now they're going to split it. I love this setup here for Gen G. So much zoning, and while they threaten the Baron at the same time.
Oh, Duro looking for that angle between worlds goes Keen. As Zeus looking to just walk up, and they have to because this Baron's going down lower and lower. There's the quickness, but Delight is just stopped in his tracks, just shot down here by Ruler as the Crescent Guard does nothing. Chovy finds the ulti, and the flash in once again to take down Gumayusi. Gumayushi. No one is dead on the side of Gen G, and it is just Zeka trying to flap away with broken wings from this destruction of a team fight out of Gen G. Yet another one around the Baron that they win. They are looking not to take down the Purple Worm, though. They're thinking the enemy Nexus might be a better prize.
Yeah, they're going to grab this turret and then can regroup and take the Baron. A bunch of minions lost here in one of these solo lanes, right? Zeka's like, to get the top minions first so I can kill this fast enough. Maybe I get the mid minions. He's the only one alive. Had to use his teleport to retreat as Aurora can't CC him. But look at the setup. Like, it's checkmate. The damage on the Baron here with Ruler and Chovy is so fast that they can send the rest of the team to block the entry. Guma takes half his health bar to one weird. Duro
he
also
caught Delight, so the engage just could never work.
And I just don't know, even if it does, if any of the carries can close the gap. But they just played it so perfectly. I mean, I'm sorry for Glazen, but I'm watching some clinical League of Legends here out of Gen G from a deficit, and it's just a beautiful thing, the way that they can utilize this Fed Yone and Fed Yunara to split the fight like that, to do Baron quickly. It's just really, really awesome to watch. And now they're going to do the same thing here on this Dragon.
Yep, Quadra, Cloud Souls. Kanavi goes in. Okay, looking for a little bit of an angle. There's the Pop Blossom, picks up 3 of them. The Yunara is down. Let's see whether Gen G will have the damage. As Gumayushi will be taken out. It's a double kill for the Auroras. Chovy will be wiped out, but Keen's at full health. Can he get the rest of them? It looks like he might be. As there's the Quadra, and it's only Zeus left standing. And I don't think he's making it out. Pentakill for Keen here, and Gen G will march victoriously to the enemy base.
Yeah, they have such incredible team fighting here. There's too many threats. Keen does insane work in that fight despite Ruler getting caught. His first death, by the way, of the game. And they will walk straight up to the Nexus and take it out. And
every year, man, the King test just gets harder.
It does.
2026 is ludicrous.
Now, I guess with Guma, he died really quickly in that fight, so he's going to respawn. So I guess they cannot actually end right now. So maybe Gen G won't win in the required game time that Hanwha needs to win in. But look at how quickly Ruler dies here. But the Emperor's Divide is used in order to get that extra burst, and it doesn't really help set up the fight here for Hanwha Life. And so now the rest of the team is just kind of fodder for this backline Aurora. And Canyon survives for so long, goes back into the pit here and secures the Dragon.
It's like every spell he throws out, though, and hits is just trillions of damage. It is revolting. Yeah, I mean, they threw the kitchen sink at him because he's so much of the team's DPS.
And then Kanavi's like, okay, wait, can I do something? He avoids that weirding, which was massive. It gave him the opportunity to potentially look for the smite. Unable to get it. Keen calls for the Penta.
And he got nervous, that's why he missed at least one spell. He missed the smell of picking up a pentakill.
He also, like...
How many pentas has King got? Probably not many.
He has not one health missing in that exchange. He was not touched in the fight.
So the thing that HLE has to do, you know, is they have to pick their battles, all right? And the battles that they picked were with Ruler and with Chovy. And after that, they had nothing else. There was nothing left in the tank. And so Keen was absolutely fine. There's the snapback between worlds once again for Mr. Pentakill Man here, as they will be able to take down this inhibitor turret. Inhibitor already dead towards that bottom side as Keen just goes into stealth, bounces out of the way of Zeus' Q3, and the last remaining inhibitor turret is surely about to fall. The inhibitor just going to be a formality at this stage.
And for Gen G, they're fighting for first place in their group, and this is a very solid start to this best of 5.
They don't have to do all that much better than they've already done in order to get first place, because T1 dropped a few games, Gen G has not. And
all they need to do is win.
Yeah. It's very, very likely that they will be first place, but this is looking like a statement already. As Ruler,
he wants to get involved with an annoying pesky wall there.
Yeah, exactly. It's so frustrating. Well, Keen has lost more health than he did in the last team fight. As Pop lost him, he flashes for it, finds 3, and there is a gorgeous snare as well. Keen's still doing so much damage, but now everyone is involved. They tried to kill Ruler. It didn't work this time around. That's another clean ace, and Gen G will mop up these turrets and send us to a game number 2. And my goodness, it was a decent early start there for HLE, and then it just wasn't good at all.
But that's the thing, Atlas. We keep seeing the same story, the same pattern, where it's a strong early game for HLE, but things get fumbled in the mid game. It just keeps happening. And that Rift Herald fight was where they tossed everything away. And I hate to say it, but I'm wondering when I'm gonna not expect it to happen, right? Like, it's happening so much that you kind of even alluded to it. You were like, Genji's gonna do the team fight thing, you know, it's gonna happen.
I mean, the thing is, because this is the same roster from last year, they went on the most ludicrous winning streak that we've ever seen. We know what this team's MO is. We've seen it so many times, and it feels sometimes like it's annoying, but it's also fascinating and beautiful to watch how they can do it so consistently. As Keen, speaking of consistency, does a gigantic amount of damage in that game, picks up a pentakill. I think he's forerunner probably for the POM at this stage. But Ruler also having a day out. Chovy having some brilliant micro plays, even if some of the plays outside of that weren't necessarily the cleanest. Genji, still very much Genji here in game number 1 in HLE. Back to the drawing board, seeing whether they can pick up one win in under 34 minutes and 43 seconds, guys. That's all we're looking for to keep them in the tournament. We're going to go to a short break. When we get back, the Space going to break that one down, and we'll have game number 2. We'll see you soon.
계속 긁으면 될 듯.
이번에 뭐 할 생각 하면 좋은데. 그냥 이런 거 원컵 내도 돼. 락한 같은 거.
오케이.
야, 하자.
갈라간.
야, 뒤.
아지를 잡았다.
프로기 잡았어.
끝났다.
나이스. 바텀. 나비 초반에. 나비. 네, 큐가 안 땄네.
As Atlas said, a match for all the marbles here in the LCK Cup, as it is Gen G and Hanwha Life Esports doing battle. And although Hanwha Life Esports with an early lead, Gen G battled back, and we get the Keen Penta for the top side of the map as well. Digon here alongside Ox and Wadid. Yo, what a way to start this very, very important series in the final day of the group stages of the LCK Cup.
Yeah, kicking off with the bang, kicking off with the Penta, and we wanted to start talking a little bit about the draft first and foremost. I think we've seen in this season a lot of emphasis be put on the side lanes when it comes to priority. And we saw here that early Nico pickup by Gen G. We've seen some teams even just overlook the Nico in the earlier drafts. Having this pick alongside the Yunara means even when you're faced with a Corki, you're just kind of ensuring that you're going to have a positive lane matchup. They even banned away like the Nami and the Bard. And then this Aurora into Cassante. We've often seen Keen this season in particular get in these favorable lane matchups and just meaning he can farm up and be a monster in the later game team fights.
Yeah, especially I want to focus on Gen G's bot lane because I think if any other team played this matchup, I think they would let Delight engage on them, you know, in the early game. But I think they just played so well in the laning phase, so it was literally like 2v2 gapped on the bot lane.
Well, let's take a look at how things shook out in this last one. It started off with Hanwha Life playing well. They looked good all over the map and got some early leads, which is what you want against Gen G.
Yeah, Kanye's been getting some crazy steals recently, so went for another one here, and it ended up backfiring. Actually, it was Azir who got the dragon, and then Kanye, no real way to get out of here with all the CC they have, so first blood goes over to HLE, really good positive, and then there was this really scrappy fight on the top side for a Scuttle Crab, of all things, and it kind of felt like Gen G just overcommitting resources, funneling in, and it backfired pretty massively.
I mean, I think these kind of fights were like, I think the fight that Gen G should win because like Chovy also picked Exhaust for the earlier skirmishes, but in fact, I think they just had the better situation coming into this fight. So I feel like Gen G was kind of like not going great with their early skirmishes because they also didn't have great priority in the mid lane. So I think it was going really great in terms of how they wanted to play around the game.
It was such a great start for HLE, and I think from that position we were like, hey, you know, strong start, running the mid game. This could be a positive start to the series for the team everyone is viewing as the underdogs in this matchup.
Yeah. Time to get your notepads out here because this is exactly the moment where things started to change. In the mid lane, it's a string of events for about a minute, around 15 minutes, where decision-making all across the map has to be smart here, and Hanwha Life Esports end up taking the wrong decision here and biting off more they could chew.
Yeah, this is Gen G macro. They started the header because they just got the fork on Yone, but they just reset it because they know that no one is on the top lane. They force someone to go top lane again because they push another wave on the top lane, and they start again. So all the control, all the macro, all the usage of the tempo was great from Gen G.
And then we see here as well, Boomer gets a little chunked out, Delight gets a Celestial opposition broken, little advantages there. They then start to push in here. They look to contest the Herald, but when we see this position, when Azir comes in, they're centered so much on the Rift Herald, and they look to kind of move in and focus in on Canyon, but like, look at the position of the rest of Gen G. They're back towards this bush where HLE don't have vision. They can't really threaten them because they all have summoners. Like if you try and dive on Ruler, he's just going to retreat backwards.
Oh yeah.
And this is prime position because they don't have a good track on Duro on this Nico. So when we play the clip, what ends up happening is Duro comes out of the fog. He even catches the engage in Rakan and interrupts that. So HLE turn onto the Nico, but Nico's job is done. It's meaningless so the Nico dies, and the cleanup is so swift. The fact is, only the Nico goes down, whose job was already done. and all of HLE go down. Considering this was a HLE who came into this with an advantage, it was such a massive defeat on that fight.
Yeah, we are showing this clip because it was really rough to choose the target already when it comes to the fight. So I think it was all about control, and Genji just knew how to play around the header. I think the header play, the ping pong was so damn well by Genji right there.
Yeah, and Hanwha maybe could have just gone for the steal and let it go after that. However, they did not. Then the game goes into Genji's hands. A little scary Baron earlier, but then we get the moment of the match. It is the pentakill down here, and it was still good tech by Kanavi.
So yeah, he actually stacks up his Q on the control ward, gets a flash engage on a ruler, and they delete him instantly. And this is probably the best fight the HLE were going to get, but unfortunately, Keen is still a massive threat and is basically untouched, consistently getting damage off. They take out the major threats from the side of HLE, end up securing the Elder and cleaning up the fight. I think a big factor was the gold advantage, but even with Kanavi being able to find Ruler, still not able to win out this fight.
I mean, not only this fight, but every single team fight when Genji had the control already, when they're ahead in tempo, I think they're just really good on just poking them out. So like you can't really engage on them because you are already like half HP. So I think Genji is really like one of the best team when it comes to like they have the lead, they have the control. So it's I think HLE, they need to figure out what is their game plan whenever they have to fight for objective.
Yeah, again, you're thinking, oh man, Chovy missing some CS in the mid lane on the Yoni, the early deficit. Hanwha Life Esports, they need that one win at 34-43 or 2 wins. Looks like they're going to get one, and it gets taken away again. Just a tough start here. So how do you want to see Hanwha Life plan out, either one of you, plan out for this next game, Woodid?
I mean, for me, I think they should make it a lot simple. We could already see it from the header fight. Zeka was hesitating to get the top wave once again, you know? I think at that point, if you like grouped already, you just force it. Get the vision down, just start the objective, force them to come into the zone, and you can actually just play that out because you were already ahead in the gold.
1-0 for Genji, and importantly, that number, 34-43. Let's see if Hanwha Life Esports are able to do it in game number 2. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for that breakdown of game number 1. And yes, we are here for game number 2, but there is already some important information that we do need to dole out, and that is congratulations to B&K FearX, top of the group at Group Elder. Kind of insane, to be honest, with how dominant DK looked throughout a lot of the group stage, but that's just how the cookie has crumbled.
Yeah, really interesting to see, but congrats to them. Hanwha Life needed the 3-0 in order to get that. Yep, they're more concerned about getting the one game in under 34-43, and so far have found themselves unsuccessful. Really enjoyed the breakdown of those fights for Genji on the space there, and I wonder now, because we normally did the tier list, right, of the mid laners, where first it's the Orianna, Azir, then it's the Ryze, Taliyah, then things get weird, but this time we had just the Azir early. Genji did not opt to go for the Taliyah. That was a possibility for them there. And so Orianna stocks go up. I think the Varus is still going to be incredibly powerful. I think you kind of have to go for first pick for Hanwha Life Esports in this situation, because all of those OP champs are still up and available without great answers necessarily even as well. Like, you're not going to get that trade for Azir if Orianna goes through, so you have to ban all of those things.
Yep, and they also know that Genji almost has to ban Jace Varus Rumble. That is what we've been seeing as far as our second pick team is concerned, and so maybe they just let an Ambessa slink through, let a Malphite slink through, one of these sorts of things. I don't want to get something done.
Said, can't get knocked out. But in fact, they can if they do not win under the proper conditions. And the Hanwha Life fans, they were so loud. We are on the Hanwha side of the crowd today. They were roaring after any possible or any positive things happened. I even heard someone like make a loud yip when Chovy missed the canyon.
Oh yeah, I mean, when Chovy misses cannons, then you know that things are going right. Unfortunately, they went wrong immediately afterwards. But let's get into it here. We're in the draft for game number 2. Already, a bunch of things have been fearlessly destroyed. So no Keen Sante for the rest of this game, no Zeka Yone for the rest of this game, and Yunara Corki are probably our 2 highest priority bottom lane champions outside of the Varus. So
kind of a big deal. A lot of these champions that have been removed. I think Jarvan stock's kind of through the roof right now. Gwen Ambessa, things that need to be looked at, but Rumble, Jace, Varus are going to be banned.
They will be. And Varus is just so incredibly powerful. So that is, I mean, it's not allowed. I think they'll ban second here by Gen G. And then they'll probably ban the Orianna third, unless they have an answer to that. Scion is taken away.
That's an interesting ban. I don't know whether that is all that necessary. However, it is going to be the one taken away.
Now, I personally am not a huge fan of Malphite jungle right now. I don't think they have to ban it here. Could do something completely different. Ban away a range support and try to get you know, the Orianna if that's left open.
And
I think it's just really not that scary to me at this point in time.
I think it's not scary to Gen G either, because Canyon, if there's anyone that just wants to be on a potato tank in the jungle, it's Canyon. And that's exactly what you want to do
this is
into
cool.
a Malphite.
Maybe looking for a first pick Talia here.
Or a first pick Orianna, depending on what gets through. The Jace does still require a ban. So I think might just be Orianna.
I wonder, because I almost feel like you can play around the Jace well if you're Gen G. Like, I'm a little bit scared of Malphite and Jace if I'm Hanwha Esports, but maybe not as much as Gen G. They do opt for it anyways, so we are going to have that trade, or at least that's what I expect. Chovy did not look for the Talia at a pretty strong angle in the previous game. We'll see if this time he has a different answer or if he just wants to play it with no Ryze on the other side. The Ryze ban feels like a bit of a double-edged sword here for Hanwha Esports, because they were like, all right, well, we don't want to play Talia into Ryze if you ban the Orianna. But now they get the Orianna, and now there's, you know, the Talia feels a lot stronger in terms of its ability to rotate around the map, because the Ryze isn't there to match, or out wave clear it in the mid lane.
Yep.
Or just go for an early Aatrox.
I guess Aatrox is a champion that you can play. We'll see whether that is going to be locked in. Of course, Malphite is the other big one that we've seen banned a lot. And it hasn't necessarily found 100% success. In fact, it found 100% failure at the very beginning.
I think Kanavi is playing Jarvan this game. I think that is almost certainly what is going to come to pass, as Chovy considers a Galio lock.
Huh.
Okay.
Well, okay, so...
Okay, that was just a bug with the UI.
Malphite Orianna is pretty scary. The problem is, if you lock Malphite, there is that Silas situation that is kind of looming.
I mean, Keen can play the top lane Galio. I don't think you can play Malphite in this draft here as Hanwha Esports.
But you can play it as Gen G. That's the thing that's rough, because they get the last thing to talk about here in the draft, and then they can ban away the Silas. Kanavi is going to take the Crocodile. But what is Zeka going to be locking in for Kanavi? We're expecting
it's just Jarvan, right?
Yeah, I mean, it probably should be the Jarvan.
It's one of the best ball carriers. It actually does things besides pressing R, which Malphite does not in this draft. So it's a little bit more multifaceted, a lot of early game power gained. This locks the Aatrox to jungle.
Yeah.
So we have the top side completely set now for Gen G. And it's pretty robust. You know, there's not a ton of damage on the Galio early, but it does become a big threat later on. And the Gnar is going to be an additional 80 threat. And it's great into the Renekton. This has been a common response thus far.
And now bottom lane. That's what we're going to be looking at here. Nothing all that flexible outside of, I guess, Galio support, which we have seen played in the past.
Sivir is a great ban here. Are they worried about Lulu? Is a question that I have for Hanwha. You know, Lulu empowers the Aatrox quite significantly. It gives you a lot of really strong pushing lanes in the bottom side, even though the Yunara is gone.
I think the Aphelios needs to look in as well. We know Gumushi, a huge fan of that champion.
That's a good point, especially with the draft they have right now. They'll take away Ruler's Ezreal, which, you know, I don't think they were going to play Ezreal Karma, but the Ezreal is very safe into the Jarvan and the Renekton.
If you're watching the LEC last night, Ezreal Karma continued to not exactly find success. I feel like maybe that bottom lane is a bit of a bait at this point in time. We've been plagued by it in the LCK as well.
Let's see what they're going to opt for here. The Aphelios seems like a pretty safe bet. Don't want to run into a Kalista. So that tells me they really want to make sure they can dominate the bottom lane in a 2v2 matchup.
I think they have to pick Aphelios, though. I think if Gumushi gets that and it's Orianna or Aphelios, that is so powerful. And with the Jarvan on your side, right, you can Cataclysm the enemy team, buys a lot of space. And then Delight can be playing something like a Lulu alongside it.
Okay,
not
so
able to take that one away. So the Lucian,
I think you just take
the last ban.
Take Lulu away from Hanwha Life Esports here, probably, right? And make sure they can't play Aphelios Lulu. And then
I guess, but maybe just take the Aphelios.
You could also do that, and then pick Lulu on 5.
Because you can also play Thresh. And
Can
so
play
it's sort of
Thresh.
like both available, and so
But it's
therefore
not
you're
as
kind of okay.
It's not as lane dominant as the Lulu. Jin is just a completely different answer.
Yeah,
they have a insane front line for it.
All right. So this will mean that Gumyushi can go towards the Aphelios if he would like to, but it is harder to win the lane. Of course, early on, the Jin is pretty powerful.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else that they'd want to run here. I think the Jinx.
Jinx is a fun one.
It could be considered. This one is not really what I'm looking for. There is a lot of setup for it.
I mean, Shockwave and Cataclysm are pretty good.
And it is a strong lane pick, but it is just not finding success here in the LCK Cup thus far. Maybe you just go Rel here, and you have the ultimate setup for Misfortune. I suppose that could be the angle. Delight's a fantastic Rel player.
The problem is, then you're looking down the barrel of Jin Bard. And I feel like Jin Bard into like, I think you have to play Bard. Like, Delight has to lock Bard here.
Will give you insane lane dominance as well, and it can be paired with the bullet time if played correctly.
Yep.
Let's see if they decide to go for that Gambit, but instead they go for the Rel that I was mentioning. This felt
so risky.
It felt so predictable though, right? And so far the series has felt so predictable.
Yeah. And now, like, if Duro does like see in his list of champions that Bard is there, he should probably play it.
I think he will.
And there it is. So, I mean,
Alistar is the more common counter, but I actually prefer...
I think Bard is so good.
I prefer the Bard. There are some cool Sona builds going around. Jin Karma's your favorite, I know. But,
oh yeah, love Jin Karma. So much value for the whole game. But the Bard was always going to be the choice. It's just a no-brainer. And what has been set up here.
It almost feels like Duro was like rotating around saying like, by the way, like even if Bard wasn't available,
I could have
still
played
wreck
these
you.
things.
Yeah, I could have actually played these other things that are really strong as well in this scenario. MF, almost to me, I've always felt this about MF, and I know I'm a known MF hater, but it feels like I'm trying to cheat the game because I set up some funny business and you can't move and now you're standing in my ultimate. It doesn't feel like the type of champion that says finesse in any way. It's a punch the door open kind of champion.
I mean, it is a low skill floor champion, and she was designed that way. You know, that's just how it works. Her numbers do work out very well though, and if you do hit bullet time on the right amount of people, she's pretty strong. The problem is, if Tempered Fate is available, you're not allowed to press that button. And so that's what's going to be really difficult here.
Genji sleeps until it's 34-33. Honestly, that clock could say 15-0-0, and that's kind of been the case as well so far in this series.
Oh my god, that is so funny. All right, well.
This looks pretty scary.
Yeah. Genji, I think, I mean, if I was looking at this composition in any other team's hands, I'd be like, ooh, lacking damage, but it's Genji. They generally just get over the line. See what happens, we jump into the Rift. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for the second game of this series. I do feel like HLE's composition, like, it has an identity. It knows what it wants to do, you know? They want to press R in unison.
The MF is kind of like often a pick, as we've seen in the LCK, that doesn't work with the rest of the comp, but it's chosen to win lane, at least in this game, because it will not be winning lane. They chose it to work with the rest of the composition. It's like we picked MF to win lane, and then we picked Rel to subsequently lose it, because Bard is on the other side.
Yeah. And look, Magnet Storm Shockwave, things like this are really powerful. Not to mention the fact that there's a Dominus Crocodile that you can throw in on top of it.
When you just think about how much setup is required, though, and even though they have a ton of tools, and you think about how Genji played those fights in Game 1, the Baron turn, Dragon, it's like, can they actually get the combos to work? Like, will that actually happen in reality? If this is a solo queue game, even if you're playing with complete strangers, you're like, oh, I think we know what's going to happen. We know how this is going to work. But I'm less inclined to think this is a super sick, strong, awesome comp in pro play against the team that has not lost a single game thus far in the LCK.
Yeah, the one thing that Gen.G are really bad at is losing.
It's like
at this point.
It's not even a cannon rush, it's like a proxy, right? They're trying to put 2 gateways outside of Chovy's base, but he always checks, you know?
Yeah, this is the thing. Like Chovy, like he will know if you try to start spawning in that pylon. Like no, he will take that one down. And speaking of which, he is going to hit the cannon. I was a little bit worried there. The Winds of War managed to wrap around and collect it. It's now the test for Zeka that he will be able to collect it there with the dissonance that also harasses Chovy. Beautifully played.
Yeah, very much a setup in this game where you have a strong bottom 2v2. It's going to require Kanavi's assistance.
This ward, getting a lot of value, does just despawn, but Ruler could still be in trouble. Flashes away everywhere, and they are still walking forward. Cosmic Binding not going to connect, but it does stop Kanavi from moving in. Canyon was thinking about not doing his Krugs, and then he was like, I'm Canyon, of course I'm going to do my Krugs.
Yeah, and he also was like looking at the bottom lane. He's like, thanks for flashing so I can get Krugs.
Yep. Flash for Krugs, we'll take that trade.
Great trade.
Delight also has Hex Flash, so he's feeling fantastic right now. As Canyon also going to get a crab, or just steal away the enemy blue buff.
Kanavi doesn't have
smite. Oh, neither does Canyon, so no one. We're just smiteless.
All right, that was pretty funny, but won't matter really too much here.
Yep, Canyon is going to look for the crab instead, so we'll be able to take that one down, but got a ward, and so therefore understands that he can continue being an... oh my... Okay, Kanavi does walk it off.
And it was like, I do now have my smite, so this could get a little tricky. Yeah, Kanavi's like, I am the guy who does this. You probably shouldn't tangle with me. My bottom lane is closer.
Yeah, Canyon also just realized that there are wards everywhere.
Well, that scene right there with the light walking away and Kanavi walking in is like the whole reason why Hanwha Life Esports is in this position in the first place, Atlas. Let's be honest. Like, we've got to work on coordination.
However, Kanavi didn't then go in again.
That's true.
So,
he's learning. He's improving.
That's character development right there. That's what we like to see. Skane gets a ward down. Does miss the boomerang there on Zeus. It's a little bit sad that we've got Keen playing the Gnar here, as it's, of course, one of Zeus's most iconic champions. But the Keen Sante was denied in game number 1, so, I mean, it's just a return of the medicine. Makes a fair bit of sense. All right. Cosmic Binding is good there from Duro onto Delight. I do feel like in this game, like, we have seen Misfortune games where she's up against an actual hyper carry, like a Jinx or something like that, and then you're feeling terrible as the game goes on. I mean, Jin doesn't do a massive amount of work, I think, unless it's Diablo, who we saw just hard carry with the champion only a few days ago.
Yeah, he's done that a few times.
Yeah. I think this could be a game where the MF could, even outside of just her ultimate, find a bit of value.
Let's
so
see if
eyes are going to be glued to Gumushi to make stuff work, because that's a good magical journey. Well played.
Yeah. Let's see if Chovy buys Riftmaker second. That's kind of been pretty common these days. That will give them a little bit of extra damage.
Yep.
And the Gnar is going to be really critical for damage later on, too.
Oh, Gumushi down very low as we do have Canyon moving in. Magical Journey comes over as Ruler is looking a little bit worse for wear, but he still has barrier. He's fine. Gumushi's dead for first blood, and Ruler still can press F if he's in any trouble.
I'm not entirely sure how this one really was sussed out by HLE, but they are in
Delight's like, take me back! Take me back, Gen.G! Never mind, I'm not allowed to do that as he gets taunted, and he will get taken down. Canyon with the knock-up, Chovy with the punch, and Canyon might be in a little bit of trouble now as Kanavi... Oh, that Magical Journey doesn't work the other way around, as Canyon should have just pressed the button again. That would have been very funny, but he's not able to do so. As the little scared, awkward Yuumi comes up that Canyon does like to throw around, as that is a kill back for HLE.
I think it's worth it for Canyon to flash there to get Kanavi's flash, because that extends Jarvan's engage range so significantly. Here, they don't have vision in the river. Well, they have vision in the tri-brush, and I suppose because of the wraparound angle here for Canyon, they just didn't expect him to be here. But like you mentioned, Ruler doesn't even need to use his barrier. Like, they were never going to really be in any danger. Chovy picks up a kill on this top side on Delight as well, so big wins here. Kill to the Aatrox, a kill to this Galio. Did get his flash as well. Nice shockwave placement there from Zeka. And then here, you mentioned the Magical Journey. Canyon forces Kanavi to flash, so that's why it's kind of worth, even though he was always going to die.
He also face planted with the Umbral Dash, but I think he was probably going to be dead anyway.
Yeah, I didn't actually see that the first time.
Yeah, neither did I, because it's like model didn't actually move at all.
Change the equation about the flash discussion a little bit, but anyway.
Yeah, Zeka taking a bit of damage here as the Spectre's Cowl is actually going to really help Chovy in this lane. No flash though for Chovy, and flash is up for Zeka. So that is possibly an angle here for HLE to play around, as we do have Canyon in the area, but Kanavi is also waiting in the wing.
I mean, Kanavi has ult as well, so they will have to play around a little bit, but they have two wards set up for vision here to see if he's going to come over and try to make a pass at Chovy, so feel pretty good about the pressure he's putting on right now.
Deadly Flourish does come on in here. As Delight will be walking away.
Not going to get it.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a shame.
Just keep spinning that revolver. Looking like Revolver Ocelot down there.
Just really, really wanted to start reloading. That's what I could feel.
This matchup here, I think, is being played very well by Zeus. We've seen a lot of Nars just completely dominate this matchup, and he's actually ahead on farm significantly.
Yeah. Zeus really utilizing his advantage windows that the Renekton does have in the early stages of the game, but we haven't seen a whole lot of people be able to play around them. So really well played. Keen bearing the brunt of what is, you know, one of our better top laners here in the LCK. Like, this matchup is, I was talking to you about it earlier on today. I was like, this is the fun matchup, right? Like, Keen versus Zeus is always just some of the best top lane League of Legends that you can see. All right, Duro will find a Cosmic Binding. There's a Magna Storm, collects Ruler there as the Tempered Fate comes through, but it's not enough. The Ignite is going to tick down, and that is going to grab that kill. I'm pretty sure it was Ignite anyway, but still the answer is here for Gen G. Chovy no flash, so won't be able to get in there, but there's the knockup from Canyon, and the third Q nets him a double, and Gen G's response is just better.
Zeka doesn't have ult. Not sure what he used it for, but I think he should have been following that rotation from Chovy, as he had TP. And could have tried to come down to assist. Maybe he just ulted the wave after Chovy left, I'm not sure. But either way, see, he has it now.
Yeah, so maybe actually looked for Chovy with it.
Yeah, did he try to stop
interrupt?
Yeah, I think you're right.
It might have been
That's
late.
exactly what happened, and he missed it. You see it on the minimap right there.
No.
Yeah, because that could have changed everything, right? Because without Chovy here, they don't get this additional kill.
Yeah, I think it would have been a 1-for-1. As we're going to see it from Chovy's perspective. As he was looking to come down, he's ulting, and oh man, just barely.
Oh, that hurts.
Yep. All right, so a little bit of unfortunate stuff there from Zeka, not quite able to interrupt
It's not
the
like
heroic entrance.
I don't even want to blame Zeka for that one. He was exactly the right place to make that happen, just a little bit slow on it. And you know, if he interrupts Chovy there, he did his job exactly right. I was following him rather than just trying to blindly TP down there. Would have wasted his teleport.
I do want to alert you to something.
Yes, alert me.
There is a BF sword in Ruler's inventory.
Yeah, I see that.
This is a Jhin that might actually build damage instead of like the Ghost Blade Rapid Fire, which is just so sad when those items come in. This might be like, I don't know, like Collector Infinity Edge or some crazy stuff. Might be the Storm Surge that we've seen grow in priority.
Yeah, interesting tech, though. I didn't actually notice that.
That would be fun.
I feel very alert to it now, though. Thank you.
I'm really glad that I alerted you effectively. That is what I'm here for.
I'm now a little bit scared, actually.
Oh no, 2 alert? Oh
yeah.
dear.
I'm on edge.
Yeah, I've been struggling with that. You know, my son needs less stimulation at this point in time.
Yeah, you are always alert, though.
Very alert and listening to things, so I'm sorry for making you too alert.
Oh, it's okay. I hope he's watching. He's now aware of the BF sword.
Oh no, he'd be way too alert. We can't do that. There's too many pretty colors. Way too many pretty colors. That's crazy talk. All right, Duro collecting some hot cocoa. Do really like the hot cocoa skin. I know Carrier's skin is so good and all that sort of stuff, so a lot of bards need to play it, but the hot cocoa is like, it's an oldie but a goodie.
I just realized they took away the winter skins in our UI finally. It's a regular potion there in Guma's inventory.
Oh no!
Oh. Refillable is normal as well.
So at least Duro is bringing back some of that hot cocoa, even if everyone can't have it anymore.
I'm happy for it. You know, I'm the kind of guy, it's like after like January 10th, you can't have Christmas decorations out anymore.
No. That is illegal. I think even Starbucks takes them down. All right, HLE looking for their first Drake of the game. Canyon is in position, just going to Umberly dash over. No way. Down here as well. Oh my goodness, they just walk in. It is going to be secured by Kanavi as the 3-man taunt from Chovy is huge. The curtains are being called, and the bullet bullet time is gigantic. Canyon will find the passive proc onto Guma, and the heroic entrance comes down. A triple knockup comes in again, but they are just barely not able to get these kills. Guma will finally go down, but it is a disaster for Gen G, and HLE will take 4 off the map.
Yeah, I think hubris would probably be one of the words that comes to mind in terms of the opt-in for this fight into the misfortune. Remember how we talked about, like, conditionally, I don't know if Guma's always going to be able to set this up into a pro team like Gen G. Well, if Gen G gives him the setup, man, he certainly will utilize it quite effectively, as it was a very close smite, and then triple taunt you, but everybody goes straight into the waiting arms of the light.
Shockwave as well. Shockwave, Magnet Storm, everything worked.
Yeah, and when you're all standing in a, you know, basically shockwave-sized ball, it's going to go well. The health bars go really low, but it's a Jin composition, right? At least Rule is able to get one back, but they just don't really have cleanup here.
Yeah. And there was a lot of low health bars, so just a little bit of target misallocation, perhaps, and also a little bit late on the Tempered Fate. We were talking about Tempered Fate being a really great answer to the misfortune. I think Duro was kind of split as to whether he wanted to try and interrupt the ultimate with it or keep everyone safe as the Wombo combo was coming in, and in the end elected to try and keep people safe after they'd taken all the damage. And so that just didn't really work, and instead kind of kept HLE safe instead.
Chovy's taunt angle there was so impressive, but when you contextualize the team fight, it kind of didn't really work out the way he wanted, I think. And I think we'll see a little bit more coordination between the Tempered Fate and the rest of the team in later team fights. So speaking of Duro,
yeah, Tempered Fate going to come on through there to try and hold Guru in position. There's a Cosmic Binding as well, as Canyon will get into melee range, and he's an Aatrox. He really likes that. That is going to be the misfortune taking a rest. And Delight is also just taking too much damage. Ruler finds another bullet after reloading most of the fight, and will be able to take down the lady with horse pants.
Yep. Traveling pants back into the fountain.
Yeah, a little bit of a shame. As Chovy just gets cataclysmed. There is an orb. That's a shockwave. And Chovy, I think it's going to take some killing, but he's going to go down. And Zeka locks that one up.
That's big. I mean, Zeka is pretty huge in this game. He has 3 kills.
Yeah.
He is going for the torch build, which in this composition does make a lot of sense to me.
I like it. Add a bit of extra consistent damage.
Yeah. Feels really good because their AD carry is kind of a R and pray situation. This is Tempered Fate value, not really the coordination that we were talking about. This isn't like the most impressive one, but it just holds Guma in place for long enough for the rest of the team to show up here. Canyon doing massive work in this fight, as he is an Aatrox heading to the mid game. Delight will get taken out by Ruler, so a huge win here on the top side. Chovy kind of face checks here, and unfortunately for him, will go down. Big boon here for HLE Esports, who get some more gold on this Orianna. Still a close game here.
And Chovy also just like had no way out of the category.
Yeah, he had
so he was very, very dead. The one thing that I didn't expect that I needed in my life was Canyon Aatrox. This guy's really good at this champion. Currently very even as far as the gold is concerned, but Kanavi's also having a day out on the job, and so I think this jungle battle is going to be a huge deal in this game.
Yeah, the Jarvan utility is so much higher than the Aatrox as the game goes on, but the Aatrox is just a big threat, frontline threat to set up this Jin later on. But again, it's not consistent damage necessarily, so I think Gen G are not very happy with the current position there in the game. Even going to use a coach voice here.
Yeah. We'll have to keep you updated on exactly what was said, but it's unlike Gen G to use Coach Voice. They haven't been a team that's really used it all that often, but this is one of the first times that we've seen a game where the enemy team is actually able to play toe-to-toe majoritively past around the 12-minute mark. Gen G likes to have a little bit of fun prior to that, but then often they get themselves into a better spot. We do have about 45 seconds, though, on this second Dragon of the game, and let's see whether that is what Gen G were talking about. As Delight, not really too worried about what Canyon's doing here, as Duro does need to be a little careful. As Rift Herald going to be the next fight as well, by the looks of things.
Ruler in a good position here.
Delight comes out. We'll find a lot of damage. The Dancing Grenade does come on forward, so Delight's engage a little bit muted now as Duro just moving up, wandering towards them as Keen is also on a decent angle. That is the steal from Cannon. He finds it this time, and Delight also takes a nap. Heroic entrance to join Keen here, who just hops on top of Gumayushi to take him out. Kanavi finds himself surrounded by bad guys, and Ruler just walks away from Zeus. And now Zeka is in trouble. The curtains have been called, and Zeus realizes he has to block it, and it doesn't even matter.
He might die now
Deadly
too.
Flourish now is the end of this Renekton. And as soon as I say it, Gen.G just decide, no, we still are going to win that team fight that puts us in position to win the game.
Yeah, it's that 15-minute timer, man, where Hanwha Life Esports fall apart. And every time.
I really thought that we made it to like 15 minutes and 34 seconds, Wolf. It was
Look at
fine.
this setup here. Like, Canyon has been threatening so many steals. This time he actually gets it. And then Keen's on the other side. Watch Guma in this fight. Watch him.
And Canyon presses Zonya's with the help of Duro.
He just cannot do anything. Like, he legit actually cannot exist. Ruler used his ultimate to get the slow here onto Zeka so that Duro can follow up and get a stun. And then Zeus was like, maybe I can help out here. He probably should have just left.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, he definitely should have just left.
And also, can he even just leave?
Well, now he's
because the rest of Gen.G were closer to his house than he was.
Yeah,
so.
I think he might have had to just hightail it out way earlier.
Yeah.
I just misjudging the situations. Hanwha fans have seen this one quite a few times, and they're, as you can see on the face, is kind of a little tired of it, I think. But it's a Gen.G great play, and this draft has so many holes, Hanwha's does, that it can be so exploited. As Keen turned Gumyushi into Goomba Yushi and jumped on his head, got 100 points.
That was a really good line, Wolf. Oh man, I really love that. As Keen is going to be in the Cataclysm, but he has Hop, so he's going to be okay from that. Meganar is not going to come in time. As now Canyon, 1 versus 3, doesn't really like this whole situation here as he does try to umbrally dash away. There's the pullback. He does have so much healing, though, as Kanavi, oh no, it's another round of Qs. He misses the spear, and Canyon somehow 50%. They now look for another round of buttons, and they will be able to take him out. This Aatrox is very scary, but still, that is 2 for nothing in favor of HLE.
Yeah, that was Delight marking Canyon and being like, don't you dare keep following us, don't you dare. And then he's like, all right, I warned you, and splashes on him and stuns him, and then he dies. Canyon could have been happy to walk away there, but he instead enjoyed the pursuit.
Yeah, I think he was having a bit of fun, and probably is a lot more used to playing like Skarner every game, and is probably really psyched to now be playing something that does damage. Does need to be a little bit careful though, as that Storm Surge we were talking about is now completed alongside a Rapid Fire Cannon, so Ruler is pretty scary. Tempered Fate does nothing, but Delight is still very dead. Duro is going to be the one that Meep slaps him down, and Ruler is probably going to be giving him a stern talking to about taking that kill.
He's like, all right, well, I guess let's go back to farming. Thanks a lot. This fight here actually feels like it was almost intentional the way they're setting this up because of the Narbar, but just too much damage here. For Hanwha Life Esports, Canyon comes down, and because he's Aatrox, he's like really ready to scrap, and he has the help of this turret here.
Oh man,
then
Thundered Sky as well as Aatrox.
Like at this moment, leave. Instead, Delight's like, well, okay. All right, he sticks around, okay.
Yeah, I know Canyon was like, oh, but my buttons are coming up. He should have realized that there were 3 other players' buttons that were also coming up, so I needed to be a little bit careful about that one.
Delight can't reach me from here. He has flag.
It does mean that there's a bit of a dent put into the gold lead. It was up to about 2,000 in favor of Gen.G earlier on. And so now that has been whittled down just a tad.
I'm going to see the same situation, but this time there's a Bard here.
Yeah, he's going to come on over. Interrupts the flag and drag with a Cosmic Binding. Duro, is he POM? I mean, his Nico is also really, really good. Maybe there's an angle there. Deadly Forest is going to connect onto Kanavi, who is going to try and put them in the Cataclysm, and then flags and drags his way into the Dragon Pit. Nicely done there. It's Chemtech Soul, as I guess Orcs needed to go somewhere else. He was on the space. I don't know. Wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, maybe he just needed to take a little bathroom break.
Yeah, breather, something like that. Still, it's 1. We'll give him 1.
Yeah, maybe he also was, you know, starting to feel the pressure of another Hanwha Life.
Yeah, he might have seen that team fight, and he's like, I've got a minute now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I look at the gold leads across the board here, and the scariest one is Rulers, and that's why we're still feeling like this is a very good position for Gen.G, as Zeus has some friends coming.
Yep. Zeka is going to show up. I mean, there is still absolute wombo combo potential here for the HLE composition. They can make it happen. The problem is
they're losing vision and losing control to set it up, though.
And you need that in order to make things work. Otherwise, Bard just makes you look foolish, like Duro just kind of has throughout this game. He's 1-1-12.
Remember, the only bad tempered fate he had was the late one on that fight that happened early on.
Yeah, and that was the fight that they lost.
Yeah, that's the one fight that Gen G lost, right, in a pretty convincing way. And you could see that every other time he's been able to warp the team fights incredibly well. I just feel that when you look at gold, we this season have really had to quantify what gold leads mean, because small gold leads often in the past would be like, oh, okay, it's still a close game, but when you look at who has the gold on this composition, how easy it is for everyone to get gold with plates and stuff like that, I do think the lead that Gen G has is stronger than 2,000 gold would otherwise make you believe right now, the composition they have and how well they piloted the team fights outside of the one, you know, we've talked about several times already.
Yep.
Dragon here for Hanwha Life would be a risky fight to take.
Well, Keen is just going to walk towards Delight here. He's got that Mega Gnar starting off. And HLE realize that they do not want to be diving in on top of that. Zayas does, though. Does manage to safely move himself over. There is some flanking going on here. A scary moment as Chovy waiting to press that R button. Will be able to do so at a moment's notice. Keen gets over the wall and won't have Mega Gnar. So that is a little scary. There's the steal. It's Ruler that takes it away somehow. Heroic entrance to come on in. There's the gargoyle drop. And then he gets the taunt onto everyone. Gumayusi just trying to create the position. And he does manage to do so. Double up. Takes down both solo lanes. And now Duro has to flash to get himself out of the way. Canyon doing the same thing. And the Umbral Dash, I think, might be enough, as the spear is not. And Ruler, he's got one more bullet, but that will not be able to take that one down. So Gen G get the Drake, but they lose 2.
Yeah, they lose 2, and it was, once again, okay, Ruler, he should be fine, but that turret will not. Once again, Gen G kind of trying to play around that taunt with the Tempered Fate and just setting up the combo for Hanwha Life one more time. Guma's positioning in that fight was enough to then help assist them on the turn. Kanavi really wants this ward and will be able to get it and get away. But man, Gen G playing with fire in this one. And the big critical part is I think he wanted to set this fight up, but they just kind of timed him out. He wasn't able to join the fight. Delight goes for the blast cone. Can't get in as quickly as he wants to, but now he's like, wait, they're going to do this again? And then the Magnet Storm comes over. Guma set up, untouched in the fight.
Oh, Zeker as well, finding the great shockwave. This time the Tempered Fate was used really well to avoid the bullet time damage. The problem is the Orianna still exists. Zeker is massive in this game. You pointed it out already. 3-1-4. Does have his Cosmic Drive now put together as Chovy having to deal with a whole lot of people.
5 people.
That's 5. Okay, that's too many. And so that is another kill going over to Zeker. 4-1-4 now on the Orianna.
I don't think they can do Baron. Like, if this was a kill into our comp does Baron right now, I would feel really good about this for Hanwha Life Esports. Instead, it's to kill, but it's at the exchange of a turn on the other side of the map that they get for free. Free farming for Ruler in the mid lane as well. Still a positive thing, but not, I think, as big as they would have hoped.
Kanavi just watches his red buff die as Delight is going to discover Canyon. He may not be able to escape this one. It's down to 50%. Duro is going to make his way over as Gumayusi with another bullet time. Canyon's not in the Tempered Fate, and so he's going to be taken out. Cosmic Binding's good, though, and Ruler is able to get himself to safety. The Bard not so lucky, as Keen might need to try and get over towards his Baron, but he can't. He has no teleport, and so this should go to HLE.
Okay, so this time the pick leads to Baron. This time it's actually huge.
All right, 9 minutes on the clock, Wolf. HLE,
right. So
they need to win this in 9 minutes time.
I wasn't going to mention it until now, where the game state feels like they have a lead, like a firm lead.
All right, run it straight down the mid lane. All right, we are calling it on this team fight.
Now, I mean, this game has been so close in terms of kills, right? And it's been very back and forth, but Gen G are the ones who have the majorative structure lead, right? Like, they're the ones who have a little bit of a extra control over the map and like winning the game, right, in terms of game time. So now Hanwha Life Esports, they win this. They have to take the Baron, right? They take it. They have a ton of control. Their composition gets so scary when they actually have the vision that they haven't really had for most of this game. But they still have to win this game now in 9 minutes time.
Yeah.
And so let's see if they could pull it off.
Oh, it'd be much more fun if we got an even series and HLE needs to win another game.
Yeah.
So that we get a potential Silver Scrapes that is a whole lot more fun. That is, a little bit sorry for KT, nervously watching this, wondering whether or not they're the team that is going to be taking a little bit of a timeout. Because if HLE still going to lose this series, but do so with like 3-2 fashion or something like that, or able to win one in under 34 minutes.
Zeka.
Things could be good as Zeka is going to get snared by the Deadly Flourish. This is the problem with Gen G though, is when they're behind, their composition just doesn't do a whole lot. Yes, it's a good build out of Ruler, he does do a lot of damage, but he does do a lot of reloading as well.
He does. I think that, okay, hold up. Kanavi should be fine here, but I thought maybe he was going to try to see what he could find there in the mid lane, but nobody was around. I think that Hanwha Life Esports have now, if they can hold on to their vision, a lead that is much greater again than the 2,000 gold shows, because it's just so difficult for Gen G to team fight now. You know, they ended up getting a ton of value on this Gnar. The Gnar is actually super huge in this game and is a big threat in team fights if they can set it up properly. But, I mean, that's the cost of what Hanwha did. They made those 2 topside plays and got the Baron, but also Keen got tons of money.
Yeah.
So let's see if they can play this out right from here on out. The coordination's going to have to be good, but it's pretty easy to play this comp. When you have vision advantage, you just press R together. As they've shown, when Gen G walks into an Orianna Shockwave, they press R together.
Oh, Keen does have his Gnar ultimate up and available. Can use it for another few seconds, but isn't quite able to line anything up. So in a turret, going to be falling down, and that gold lead creeping towards pretty scary numbers here for HLE. The problem is the clock is also creeping towards some pretty scary numbers.
This is the thing that, like, you kind of have to try to turn it off in your brain, but certainly these players have in the back of their mind.
And you know what the average loss time for Gen G is this season?
It's undefined, yeah.
It's infinity time. So it's pretty difficult to reach that number here as HLE. And have it be under 34 or 43.
Yeah. Well, they got 6 to 7 minutes left here to close this one out.
Don't say those two numbers together, okay, Wolf?
Well, yeah, that's what the children
There are children in the chat.
That's what the children
Be
like.
careful. All right. Dragon secured, so it's 2 apiece here between these 2 squads. And Keen is looking pretty cool. I really do like that skin. But isn't quite able to stop too much. He's still behind in farm. Zeus actually doing a great job staying relevant on this Crocodile. Does have his first 3 items completed and is already level 18. Almost halfway towards 19 as well.
I think that I'm not, like, I want to say Hanwha should be able to do this. Like, there's 2 minutes until Baron. If they win a Baron team fight and they control vision around Baron, take Baron, and, you know, they'll win the fight from it, they could end the game. Like, I think it is possible for them to win in the appropriate amount of time.
Yeah.
Will they do that is the question. And, like, will Gen G just play spoiler and try to stall them out and play that way? Probably not, because for Gen G, all they need to do is win this series, and they don't actually really care about what happens. I mean, maybe taking Hanwha out of the equation for players would be good for them, but...
There is one really, really funny thing, and that is Gen G could drop a game to HLE, and HLE still gets eliminated from the tournament prior to play-ins, and then Gen G goes on to not lose to anyone else ever again, and the only team that's been able to beat them got eliminated.
That could actually occur. That is very funny.
Yeah, could be hilarious, but it's not something we need to talk about just yet.
For Gen G, right now, you do want to stall, not because of the game time, but you know, you just want to farm it out. You don't want to be in the dark map where Hanwha Life Esports have all of those combo potentials. And I think for Hanwha, like, just your whole goal has to be maintain Baron vision, push these waves, maintain Baron vision. Canyon?
Okay, well, not sure about that one. It's Gumiushi able to sidestep the Deadly Flourish, but Canyon needs to do something crazy to get out of here. A flash is what he's going to employ. Zeka throws the orb around, and now Chovy gets a nice little taunt onto Zeus. He goes down to 50%, but HLE are looking absolutely fine right now. They can back away towards the Baron, but it's up in a minute. Kind of awkward timing here.
If Baron was spawning in like 10 seconds here, you'd feel amazing about this scenario here for Hanwha Life Esports, the flub from Gen G, but instead, it's...
They got the flash out of Canyon. That is a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, they get that. That is going to be significant in the upcoming fight, but still maintain Baron vision. That's the most important thing. They have the crab, they have those 2 control wards, they have that ward on the left side as well. So they need to be able to turn off a Baron and look for that combo. As I mean, there's no vision here for Canyon, but not really sure what he thought was going to happen here. As Chovy's looking for a wraparound.
I think he maybe didn't think that Zeka was sitting in that brush.
Like, I think they wanted to try to set something up with Chovy's ultimate and then look for a combo, but remember, they're playing into this comp, so I don't think that was advisable.
Yep. They do want to split the map, though. I actually do quite like sort of trying to fight in 3 versus 3s and things like that, because HLE's composition does really want, like, the whole Exodia to come
It needs the whole hand. It needs all 5 fingers, for sure.
Yep.
Or all 5 parts of Exodia, whatever you want to.
Yeah, Fingers, Exodia, all the cards.
Voltron.
Voltron, yeah, Megazord, yeah, all those things. You're right, okay.
I need to rewatch Voltron.
I haven't actually seen it. Maybe, like, does Zoids do that as well?
Zoids, I think, I don't know if they really
never really
transform.
attached to each other. They're just mechanical animals.
Here we go. Like, Hanwha need to win this. They need to get this Baron. They probably need to kill someone on Gen G at the same time to get the game time where they
I mean, if they win a team fight right now, ace Gen G,
then
and get Baron, they can win the game.
100%.
All right, Canyon, possibly in a bit of trouble. Magnetstorm fires absolutely nothing unless you count the air, though, as Chovy also finds himself in an awkward spot. The curtains have been called here for Ruler. He does find Gumayusi with one of the shots as Zeka takes so much damage from that last bullet. Zeus is in the front line, but there is no follow-up. Shockwave's still there, bullet time's still there. There's still a lot of damage on the table here for HLE, but they are scattering, and they are not pressing their buttons. Deadly Flourish gets flashed out of Gumayusi, and now he'll press the button. He finds Duro to lock him down, and Ruler is going to be taken out. Zeka is so close to dead, but it's still going to be a gargoyle on the floor, and Gen G are missing out on the rest of the fight. It's still going to be Canyon now, looking for an angle onto Zeus. He'll take him out with the help of Keen, who hits Mega, finds the Gnar, and takes out the jungler, as now Gumayushi's in melee range against Canyon.
It's
and
not
he makes
possible,
the raid,
Atlas.
but I just...
It's not
is he
possible.
gonna get out? No, it's not.
It's not possible for them to end the game in time now. They needed to win that specific fight and get that Baron, or else they were not going to be able to
Wait. So that was that just like a 3 for 3?
Yeah.
And nothing else really happened?
Alight looking for the solo ult here on the Ruler was, in my mind, the moment that I knew this game was not going to be the finish in time here, because then it extends this fight so much. They don't have their combo anymore. Gen G play this slow, and like you said, break the fight up. They fight on 2 fronts as Chovy absorbs the pressure here on the left side, and Keen and Canyon push onto Kanavi on the right side. There's no Baron angle here anymore for HLE.
Oh, Zeus' angle. I didn't see that blast cone. It was incredible.
Yeah.
The engage cone. Valdez would be so proud.
And then Zeka has to flash, by the way, the Baron, because he was in position to get hit by it, so he does survive, but ultimately he has to back away. He can't actually join this fight, which ends up being a win for Gen G as well.
And Keen hits second Mega Gnar in the team fight at that last moment in order for him to survive. So now he's got 4 items.
And there it is on the clock.
Oh, dear.
Well, no, sorry, it's 34-43,
yeah,
not 34-30.
They've still got like another minute.
Yeah.
All right, HLE, let's try and get in there. It's okay. That is Zeus just taking way too much damage. Keen trying to get that Navar in order as Gumayushi's going to get put into the Tempered Fate. Magnetstorm to try and buy some time, and they dive on top of the Misfortune, and she's wiped out before she can press any buttons. Gen G, I think they may have just done it again. The flash forward, Q1, 2, and 3. Is it going to come on in? That is the meat slap to slow him down. He's got another round of Qs, and Zeka is limping out of the way. Finally, Canyon locks it up. And it was looking like we were timing this game to see whether HLE could win quickly enough, but they may not win at all.
Yeah, they may lose before the time gets hit.
Wait, yeah,
34-43. So I don't think
Gen G, you don't have to worry about it, but it would be very funny if you won the game at exactly that time, as there it is, ticking over right now. So even if HLE defend, they're going to have to win another game in this series, and I have a feeling that this game is over, and match point is collected here for Gen G. Everyone on HLE sweating just that little bit more profusely as they are staring down the barrel of elimination.
Man, that one fight was so important. And even, if you are just thinking about a best of 5 here, not thinking about game time at all, you might not have taken that fight the same way. They were desperate. They went for the engage, Delight's engage fails, and then the fight gets broken up. It was really cool to see how Zeus played out the rest of the fight, obviously, but man, this sign is very appropriate as well in this particular game too.
But they certainly woke up for 34-43, and then they proceeded to immediately win.
I don't know if they could do it, Atlas. It just seems less and less likely now.
I mean, the problem is that in both of these games, you saw how HLE were going to win, and then they just couldn't.
Yeah, and HLE, this was the cheese draft. This was the, I have all the circles, I have all the combo. Our coordination isn't as good as we want it to be right now, but this one is pretty easy to pull off, and they couldn't pull it off.
Yeah. Oh man, it is dire straits beginning here for HLE, but when their backs are against the wall, that is when the Super Soldier comes online. Let's see whether Zeka can channel some of that 2022 energy to get them back into this series, whether it's maybe some heroism from Zeus up towards that top side, or your World Finals MVP in Gumayushi stepping it up here in this third one to bring us the distance, maybe win the game in time and just give us some more League of Legends. That's all we want. We're gonna go to a short break now. When we come back, the Space is gonna break it down. Then we'll have that third game, Gen G on match point.
야, 좀 때려.
천천히 때려봐. 빨리.
야, 때려.
야 자리 좋은데?
야, 좋은데? 나 공격볼게. 야, 우리 높을. 야, 맞아. 오케이. 아트 붙여봐. 나 미포.
야 미포.
천천히. 야, 끝내. 열어줄게. 가자.
오케이. 우리 높을. 이거 라인 줘.
야, 우리 끝내자. 잡아야 돼. 이거
야
잡아야
잠깐만
돼.
이거 못 탔다.
야, 따딱 됐는데. 아, 잡았어. 와,
나이스.
아, 민규가 흥분이 지리네 진짜. 알겠어, 따닥. 따닥 잘했어.
따닥 왜 이렇게 좋아해?
잘했어, 알겠어. 따닥. 야,
알겠어.
아까 용 때도 너 때문에 진 거 같아. 너가 이겼다 해가지고.
뭔가 이상했다니까.
나를 갑자기.
오늘 준비된 경기는 그 T1과 KT의 경기가 여러분들을 기다리고 있습니다.
전통과 역사를 자랑하는 통신사 매치인데다가 심지어 작년 월드 결승전 리매치.
지금부터 만나보시죠.
탑갱 보고 싶고.
더블C 아들만도요?
세주 집 갔다가 돌고 천천히 올 거야.
가볼 수 있어? 가볼게.
나 2대. 오케이 이거.
평타만 쳐계줘.
와, 땀풀 빠졌다.
미드 라인 들어온다 이거. 아칼리 라인 먹으러 가야 돼. 미드 갱 볼 수 있고.
미드 간다, 세주 미드.
봤어.
뭐 스킵 빠져야 볼 수 있어.
큐는 빠졌어?
봐도 돼. 보자. 자.
야 죽긴 했다 이거. 시간 끄져줘 여기.
나 킬 주면 좋겠다. 잡아. 난 잡아. 오케이.
유나라 집 가면 이번에 타워 한번 잡을게.
야 바텀 친다 얘네 타워.
나 대파리 가는 거 보이는 중.
야 이거 보자. 봐봐.
괜찮은데? 난 괜찮겠는데. 이거 뺀 쪽으로 보자.
일단 아펠리우스 쪽으로 슬로우 걸어놓게.
궁 체크.
뒤에 둘 다 높을. 궁 다 있어. 룰루 높을. 걔 높을.
잠깐만.
나 힐줄게.
궁을 못 눌렀다.
나쁘지 않겠네.
야 이거 용시야 봐봐. 얘는 용시 없고 나만 엄청 이쁘게 먹어놨어.
쳐서 부르자. 치자 이거.
치고 내가 C자에 숨을게.
나 이거 돌게 이거.
이거 하루미도 C자에서 나오는 거 때려줄래? 야 나온다.
미드 노프리.
나 못 지나가다.
내려가겠다. 해치웠어? 아칼리 저기 그냥.
아칼리 참가 없어 이거 할만해.
세주랑 위치 맞대줘.
아칼리 여기
일단 굴.
세주 반피.
천천히.
나 앞에 볼게. 앞에.
앞에 루플.
야, 죽겠다. 딜라인 별로.
야 우리 다 죽었어 일단.
얘들아 쭉 봐야 될 듯? 빼야 될까?
빼.
요거 뺏긴 했는데.
얘들 얘네 턴이다 이제.
빠졌어.
역바 생각해야 돼.
우찬이랑 나랑 바로만 막자.
바로 총 되나 이거?
나 되긴 하는데.
이거 쇼부각 봐보자.
야, 밑에 텔 탔다.
이거 조심해. 얘네 실려는 거 같아. 나 이거 테레 문 쳐볼게.
저거 보고 싶었는데. 나 자리 너무 좋아 이거. 다시 걸 생각할게. 아칼리 뒤에 두고 나 본대로 나갈게.
나 가죠.
이거 치다가 걸 생각해야 될 것 같아. 일단 쳐봐.
너무 위치 부리긴 하다. 이거 위로 끌면서 돼.
야 이제 걸게.
야 자연.
아지를 묶었다 아지를.
야 자연.
자연부터 봐.
자연.
뒤에 위에 봐야 돼.
땀 천천히 볼만한데.
위에.
야 이렇게 바꿔
쪼이자. 앞에 로플. 천천히.
기다려봐. 먼저 들어가줄래? 자, 받았어.
야, 앞에 봐. 천천히 빨리 좀 와.
나 이사초.
잡고 바로.
바로.
나이스!
다 높을 때 얘네가 터치로 올 때 싸움이 제일 좋지
그때
않을까?
보고 그냥 안에 되면은 사용 저거 장로 때 봐도 돼.
이거 시야 넣어놓고 장로 스마싸움 하지 말자. 야, 스마싸움은 진짜 절대 하지 말자.
빡대 안 되지 이거. 이거 될 것 같은데? 빡대 해야 될 것 같은데 이거.
그냥 강타 싸움 해볼게.
바뀌었어 일단.
나 이거 선택을 볼게 이거.
나 크게 돌게.
백사이 테일 나 마테.
포지션 잡아야 돼 포지션.
야 돌게 기다려. 렉사이랑 위리 치마.
야 장로
위치마. 치지마 너.
앞에 컴퓨터 앞에 맞고.
야 문도.
야 앞에 들어와줘.
야 앞에. 야 아들.
형 장로 데려봐.
야 아래는 안 좋아. 나 죽었어 일단.
못 먹었다. 천천히 봐.
유나 위에 괜찮아. 위에 좋아.
유나 잡긴 했어 이거.
이게 뭔데?
내가 다 잡을게.
야 이거 딜방 좀 맞아.
나 안 돼. 이거 라인 죽으면 끝난다. 집 시간 많아.
얘기하고?
아칼리 싹다 노플인데 얘네?
이게 많아.
바로 할 건가?
할 거야.
나갈만 할 것 같은데 이건?
이거 얘네 미드로 나오려니까 나 자인 한번 보고 올게 얘들아. 이거 보는 거 어때?
나 이거 타고 넘어갈게.
이거 보자. 야 이거 볼게 우리.
아칼 바텀인데. 바텀이다 아칼. 나 바텀 태볼게. 이래볼게.
나 안 죽긴 해. 나 살기만 할게.
나 좀만 봐줘.
형 나 빼고 싶어.
좀만 봐줘.
나 풀자.
아칼 거의 잡았어 이거. 아칼 잡았어.
이겼어.
아 이거 장로 있긴 한데.
근데 그냥 줄 생각하고 막을래? 나 화면 되긴 하는데.
얘들아 그냥 우리 자신있게 다이브 할 생각하면 될 것 같아. 다이브 하자 이번에. 이거 장로 있을 때 걸고 싶네. 볼 거는 보여. 볼 거는 볼게 내가.
계속 세주랑 직선만 세주면 돼.
내가 말할게.
이번에 하고 싶어.
야 이제
천천히 보자. 오케이.
야 좋아.
세주.
이거 빼면서 그냥 빼면서. 백사이.
야 볼만하니 천천히.
가자. 야 먼저 너플.
야 나 앞에 좀 지를게. 앞에.
앞에.
알겠다.
차이즈 막아줘.
그 전에 처음부터 다이브 했어야겠다. 근데 궁을 좀 과감하게 계속 던지. 근데 장로 때 너무 못한데?
끝났다. 나이스.
내가 생각.
밸류 보수?
이거 뭐냐? 왜 이겼냐?
45분 동안 지고 있다가 1분 이겼는데
짜릿한 역전승이죠.
T1입니다.
And for Hanwha Life esports fans everywhere, that's another heartbreaker. They have to pick themselves up after Gen G take this one yet again. It is 2-0 Gen G over Hanwha Life esports, and Hanwha Life is down to their very final opportunity to qualify on in. Welcome to the space as we break this one down.
It's feeling so dangerous, especially considering game one, the early game was really promising. Game two, there was a lot of moments where you really thought they were going to get it. And, you know, yes, there's the additional factor that they had to get it within a certain time, and that started to get, you know, it started running out of time towards the end. But even if they'd gotten a win past the time limit, it still would make it easier for the rest of the series. And now with the backs against the wall, it gets so difficult.
I mean, I think it was the matter of like if you can kill Guma or no in this game. Especially even though they played press R team comp, HLE, I think they had to keep Guma alive to kill the bruisers, the front line from the Gen G. So I felt like it was a huge task coming into this game.
Well, let's see an example of that. In around 22 minutes at the Dragon Pit, you get to see what it looks like when Guma stays alive in a team fight.
Oh yeah, they got the control first and they saw all the members from Gen G. So it was a lot simpler, but it was still really hard to work on. But I think in this team fight, the usage of Guma, the flash was on point. I feel like Gen G had such a great moment coming into this fight with their engages, but I think his flash saved the HLE. So I think this was good example of them using early leads into the team fight as well.
I think ultimately it's a hard game to play as an MF because there's so much CC flying around in team fights, and because you're dealing with a Bard who could both stop your ultimate from having an impact because it puts everyone in stasis, or just put you in stasis. But this was a fight where really you saw the value that the MF can have, and when it's pulled off well, and we saw it in a couple of other places, that's what HLE were going for.
Yeah, very difficult to play if you're Guma on the Misfortune. No mobility there. And then you kind of wonder, we've been bringing it up, 34-43. That's when they need to get the win in. This team fight happens at 31 minutes, and all of a sudden you got a couple minutes left. You got to bait Baron, and then you got to go win if you're Hanwha Life.
And this one actually started off pretty positively for HLE because they're bringing them into the Baron, and they end up getting Ruler's flash very early on. It's the Light who picks it up, and Genji feel a lot of pressure as a result. It's like our flash has just been burned. We want to make something of this fight. We want to move in. And they play pretty aggressive here. They start targeting, and they get a fourth shot here onto Zeka. He gets chunked low, and they start to try and chase them forward.
And also the issue begins with the split fights here, because I feel like Genji are winning the top lane 2v2 really strong on the Raptor side.
Look at that blast cone from Zeus.
Oh yeah.
Right onto Ruler.
So, I mean, even though they won the fight on the left side, the issue is the right side, the Keen and Canyon. They, as Nara and Aatrox, they had so much value if the fight goes really long enough. And I think they just made such a great outcome out of this team fight.
And that's the problem, is that you have these durable frontliners, these bruisers, and without Guma there, they didn't have the damage to cut through them. By the time he gets there, they're just like, okay, we're just going to leave. And it stalled things out at a moment where HLE, especially after they took down the enemy AD carry, they were thinking, hey, we might have found it. We might have found our window to get the Baron to close out the game, and that ruckus on this side of the fight ended up not going in their favor.
Yeah, and so you don't get the win within the time, but again, 2 wins in this series does it for Hanwha Life Esports. But we showed earlier what it's like when it's easy to play that compo, when it's difficult to play that composition, when you're Gumayushi, you don't have the resources. It looks like this in our third highlight where Genji closed the door.
I mean, I just want to give huge shout out to Keen once again. I mean, even like last team fight was him zoning out Renekton first, you know, but this one as well, look at Keen's position. He's just attacking their backlines, and there's no any like bodyguards for Guma here, and already the game is over here.
It forces the Rel to engage on the Gnar, which doesn't feel great, but what else are you supposed to do when he's walking up onto your MF, causing this disruption, this huge threat? Keen, both of these games have been just an absolute monster in the later stages, and HLE just kind of crumbled. The last fight was much more competitive. This one, it felt like they'd just lost all the wind in their sails. They'd used so many summoners, invested those resources, and here they just didn't have the tools to deal with this Gnar. Game ended, and now they're in this really dire position.
Again, like Keen is making huge space for the team once again with his positioning, so it's really impressive because he's playing Zeus, who's one of the best team fighter in the world.
Yeah, no flash after that last Baron fight earlier, so Guma didn't have much room to wiggle here. Speaking of no room to wiggle, it is 2-0 Genji over Hanwha Life Esports. They got to get themselves on the board to have a chance to qualify through to the play-ins.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for that breakdown. And yes, we mentioned it already. The sweating has begun to be described as profuse out of HLE and HLE fans, because they are staring down the barrel of elimination. That chance of being first in the group, that evaporated in game number 1. In game number 2, it became all that more dire, as one more loss and they will just be going home, and they will not be participating in the rest of the LCK Cup, and they cannot defend their first stand title. They were the first team to be able to lock that down, and they might be the first team eliminated from the next opportunity to pick it up.
You got to think about a lot of things, you know, if you're a Hanwha fan, like that Bro loss, you know, there's just that one game, could have just tightened it up there, taken a series against the weaker teams that you feel you're better than.
Do you know what's really funny, Wolf?
Entirely.
Because of that, Bro now may stay in the competition, and HLE will be eliminated.
Exactly.
Bro winning that one game kept them in the LCK Cup, if this is going to be a Genji victory here in game number 3. And obviously, that's counting some chickens. We have a draft that's coming up. HLE have decided this time to go towards second pick, so it's back to, you know, regular stuff. Blue side will still be picked up here for Genji. They will have first pick though, and second pick going over to HLE. They might be able to get some counter picks, some options in lane to help them out. Maybe the ability to get counter pick for Delight and get a bottom lane that is actually going to win.
That is the question that they are posing to us, or we are posing to them rather, as to how they're going to find that power in the bottom lane. I mean, funky happened there with our UI, but I think it's fine. Still looking at that first ban here. The timer reset for a second, but either way.
Yep.
There's the Malphite ban. So
Malf went all the way through.
You get an extra ban, you know, you don't have to ban Varus if you're Gen G.
That's a very good point.
They have to ban it.
Indeed. I think Varus needs to be banned on both sides. Ruler or Gumayushi both playing that it's just a recipe for disaster.
Or Keen or Zeus or Zeka or Chovy playing is pretty scary as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. Varus is just pretty good. Ambessa, also a scary one. And with the extra flexibility that Gen G does have, they can choose kind of which first pick that they want to go for. Orianna and Azir both being utilized already by Zeka in this series.
It just feels like this is probably going to be a Ryze first pick for Gen G. You know what I mean? It just feels like that's the inevitable game 3 setup we're going to end up with here, where Chovy's just going to farm hard all game long. Pop off on a Ryze on 3 items. That is the... Like, when I look at everything that's gone, all the threats, I'm like, that seems fairly simple to play it out. The fact that Bard and Nico are gone gives you a lot of flexibility in what you want to draft in the bottom lane. So, see what Guma ends up with here.
You could even ban something like a Taliyah if you don't want to deal with it. Like the counterpunch of the Taliyah Pantheon could have been a thing. A Poppy ban is kind of intriguing, as Rumble needs to be banned. If it's not banned, it's... that's an error.
Well, it will be picked. That's what
it will then be picked. That is precisely the outcome. And
okay, so they're going to try to trade Ryze for Rumble, I suppose.
All right, so let's give Keen the POM. I'm going to write Rumble in now.
Well, he's definitely the leader of POM right now. Yeah. With his performance in Game 1 and then a very strong Gnar in Game 2. I do think they will pick Rumble.
If they don't pick Rumble, then that is silly.
There is no Vi. There's no Wukong. Like, it's not the strongest Rumble angle it could ever be, but it's still very powerful. I think Gen G just really didn't account for this, so they're spending some time discussing.
Whoa! It's Pantheon!
Okay.
Oh, all right. I guess I'll cross that out. Why?
Well, I think it's going to be maybe a Pantheon Taliyah game here for Gen G, but it could also be support Pantheon. There's a lot of flexibility with this.
Yep.
You can see, like, Hanwha Life are like, is this a trap? Like, why would they do this? Why would they give Zeus Rumble?
I mean, we did see Shu lose on the Rumble yesterday.
Now you also give the Ryze, right? So Gen G are basically saying we are always planning on playing the Taliyah side of this. Remember I said earlier every team would have picked Taliyah in that situation in Game 1. I think you probably pick it here. They didn't do it last time.
Give me the Anivia.
I mean, that has been what Chovy has opted for in the past.
It's a fun one.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, Chovy's the only one who's won on Anivia, but I do not think it is in an incredibly strong state at the moment. Pantheon synergy kind of there.
Well,
okay, well, the Ornn counter pick was kind of, you know, we had it inside of us all along. We knew it was there. This Cassiopeia counter pick has not really been employed very much this season.
Yeah, it's either bird or snake is what Chovy's thinking about. I think the bird is probably working a little bit better. That cycling through the 2 options, trying to figure out exactly what he wants to do.
Chovy has told us twice in this series now he thinks Taliyah is bad right now. And he's making a very firm statement about that.
And honestly, I agree.
We all kind of were pretty low on it, but Cassiopeia will be the opt-in here.
So this is the sort of classic counter pick, but with now a Trundle there as well, and Trundle pairs beautifully with the Rumble. So
and Cassiopeia really doesn't like Trundle. You know? She doesn't have a lot of mobility. She doesn't like
and Ornn really doesn't like Trundle.
I kind of think that Gen G's greed in this draft has been punished in so many ways.
If Rumble isn't banned, you pick it, and they just didn't pass that test. It's problematic. If they win here, man, I will be very, very impressed. As let's just see what this bottom lane is going to turn into, right? Bottom lane priority is going to be another huge thing that we do need to talk about. But with the Trundle there already, I thought maybe this could be like a Ruler Kalista angle, and you could run like Kalista Renata and then have the hostile takeover mean that people face in certain directions, and then Chovy gets a lot of value with his Cassiopeia, blah, blah, blah. There's like a few different things there, but instead, we are going to see, like with the Trundle, it makes it so hard to pick that up because it just does make Kalista's life really hard.
It does feel like they we're really strongly considering it though with that Ash ban to come through. Lulu is taken away, so looking for just safety in that bottom lane. A scaling pick here for Guma is what I'd expect. They banned the Kalista themselves, interestingly.
Yeah, okay.
And if you go for Lucian here, it's blind. They end up going for Alistar because it's the safest blind support pick right now in the meta. It loses to everything, but Lulu is gone. Like every range support that is. Lulu is gone, the Nico is gone, the Bard is gone. Sylas is not playable because both soul lanes are locked up.
You say that.
This is the perfect
The jungle
place to play.
isn't locked up, Wolf.
That is true.
There is an angle. I don't know whether they really want to flex the Pantheon into support when there isn't any AD carry being shown. You can get some work done into the Alistar, but let's see what Gen G does want to do here.
I mean,
Aphelios Thresh could just be slammed. That could be fine.
It's not a bad Sylas flex, but I do think this is a much safer way because you're not going to get punished in lane, and the Sivir with no Jarvan or anything like that feels pretty good here too. I'm a little bit less inclined to like the Kai'Sa.
I mean, it kind of fits. No, I don't like it either. I think the Sivir is
like, what do you follow with Kai'Sa in this draft?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, hang on.
You just lose the lane.
The
as well.
setup CC is like a cow.
The Kai'Sa is really going to struggle. I think the Sivir actually rounds us out really nicely though, because you have the Alistar front line, you have wave clear in both your Ryze side lane and then in your mid lanes to set up for objectives really well. I do think HLE Esports got the better draft here, to be honest. Now, they don't have a super strong front line, but Trundle can kind of become one to a certain extent for a brief period of time. And also the Alistar, of course, does exist. Getting on top of this Aphelios doesn't necessarily have to be the game plan. I think just dropping an equalizer in front to backing through the burn damage and just chunking everyone super low and playing the fights really slow in front to backing them is how HLE win this game if they do. But remember, this is more of a scaling composition. They do need to win this game in 34 minutes and 43 seconds.
Yep, it's a very good point. I think this composition absolutely can, though. I think what HLE have put together is kind of beautiful. Rumble has been incredibly powerful in the LCK Cup so far. And Gen G, not a whole lot of incentive, right, for them to really pick everything that's super incredibly powerful. They have 3 more games they're going to play if they don't win this one. Well, 2 more games after this one. So a lot of opportunities here to make better choices, but that Pantheon first pick is still kind of blowing my mind. Kind of amazed they just did not decide to go with the Keen Rumble that has looked so incredibly good so far. Let's have to see. We'll just have to see as we get onto the Rift here for game number 3, whether HLE can bring us to a 4th. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for game number 3.
Looking for one thing. Okay, it's there. Zeka took Ghost, and this is the best champion in the mid lane, in my opinion, to use Ghost with. Gets the most value. He has Phase Rush. He's very difficult to lock down. But with Pantheon in the equation here, if you're trying to side lane super hard and you don't have teleport, if you get picked, that Pantheon pick stocks go way up for shutting Zeka out, making it difficult for him to actually farm the way he wants to. Because if he dies, then you lose an objective because he won't be able to TP back in. He can realm warp towards the objective, but that's really all he can hope for, or ghost back towards it. But the choice he's made here is going to be great for fighting. It's going to be great for team fights. It's, I think, the correct choice, but it doesn't mean the Pantheon could really hurt them because they don't really have any way to match that sort of global on the map here.
All right, now we're seeing the bottom lane minion waves just being cleared out. And Delight taking a bit of damage, of course, level 1 Alistar, just a sad sight, really. It's not a whole lot of fun. Flay does also make the Alistar's life a little bit difficult, but there's a headbutt pulp as level 2 is going to be gained. Still, Q damage value out of Ruler here with that Severum.
I love how Ruler played that too. He was like, I'll put a little bit of damage into Guma, we can't kill Delight. Trading correctly, switches back to Calirum to try to poke. Yep. He is really showcasing the early power here into the Alistar lane.
And every secondary summoner spell just used immediately as Chovy now dealing with the Pillar of Filth with the flash forward from Zeka to answer the flash out of Chovy is going to mean that both of our mid laners are now without flash. The Rune Prison off screen right there, but just going to check out the top lane momentarily and then realize that the top lane is not interesting and move on back.
Yeah, very much what we kind of alluded to before, is Cassiopeia does not like the pillars, but Chovy does not have even a second thought about flashing. Does it so instantly as the double interrupt from Duro.
That was not bad. That ward is getting a lot of value. And so Ruler will now have a lot of spare time with this wave. Guma is still thinking about going for a reset. And so that means that it is going to be even more minions left to the wayside. This Sivir is going to fall very far behind.
Yeah,
Does want to get an early cull just to make sure that catch-in happens as soon as possible, but I think you are giving up just that little bit too much.
Yeah, I mean, you get back to lane so fast in this meta.
It's a good point. Maybe I'm overestimating
Let's see. I mean, it looks like he's going to lose none, actually. In fact, he just barely gets back in time.
I think he lost a couple of melees that had already died before we checked it out.
I mean, of that wave, yeah.
Yeah.
But you're right. Find himself about a wave down in general in this lane, so not ideal. The Alistar I don't think is a bad pick, but you know the way they fought in the lane there and how well piloted it was by Ruler and Duro is really the big story. Plus the double interrupt that he got, which ruined everything. Right, that was pretty massive. So just small things like that in this meta can actually stack up to mean such so many big things later on.
Yeah, and Duro, I haven't seen him play Thresh, I don't think. It's been quite some time, but this has been a favorite for so many of our supports. He's also using Martyr's Skin, which is just objectively the best one. As Canyon going to spot this Gromp spawning, and we'll be taking this one down. Only level 4, so it doesn't quite have the Grand Starfall just yet. As Zeus trying to look for an angle towards Keen. It's that Bellows Breath, and the Brutal Proc is going to work out very nicely there, but he's still suffering a little bit here in this lane, as we would expect. Rumble is just very strong at this point in time.
Right, very strong, very powerful in team fights, and kind of naturally wins most lanes. The Ornn mitigates a lot of that, but eventually you just become very powerful. Checking into Duro's Thresh stats right now because you've piqued my interest. He has played it 7 times.
All right.
He's 4 and 3. Or sorry, 3 and 4, excuse me.
Ooh, let's see whether he can even it out or whether it is going to fall further into a deficit. And if it does fall into a deficit, then we get more League of Legends, which is kind of what we want here.
Yeah, fall into a deficit, but also like a 35 minutes plus game.
Yep.
And then give us more stakes for the rest of it.
Yep. That's all we want here. Just keep the stakes.
As Ruler is trading back effectively here. There's the teleport for Zeus.
Oh, this ward. Oh, no. It just barely missed out. As now Chovy could be in trouble as well. He does get the Petrifying Gaze down. As now Canyon dives in on top of Guma, but he has a great spell shield to avoid that stun.
And the flash angle was amazing as well to get himself over that wall. Well, there's no follow-up, doesn't get caught by the hook. And he is going to be able to, I mean, he obviously doesn't want to flash, but
Neither of those ganks worked is kind of insane.
Yeah.
Because of the flashless Cassiopeia, that seemed like a pretty good target. But they do get Gumyushi's flash. That is a big deal. As Kanavi is just lumbering back towards this mid lane.
Kajovi's wave manipulation has been so great this series. Feels like he just can always farm, even under threat, even without his flash. Gets away this time again.
Yeah, doing
Keen is
fine.
just, you know, getting warm.
Yeah, I mean, this is just, he is a blacksmith, you know, so he's no stranger to the forge.
I remember once upon a time people would say, like, don't pick Rumble, Ornn is up. We've moved past that quite a bit.
Yeah. And this is like, we haven't really been seeing this. I think we've been seeing more Scions picked into Rumble as well, as you just have that little bit more agency in the early stages of the game. The Ornn is still going to be able to build items, right? Like, if we get to a late game and Ruler gets, like, an ornamented Infinity Edge or something like that, like, it's still just kind of nutty.
Kanavi does not have vision.
He does have Smite. Canyon is just going to press Q and Smite together.
Yeah, the Q Smite, quite strong.
Yeah.
And that's the end of that. We did have Zeka hanging out here to potentially threaten if he wanted to contest, but he just smites it away and doesn't care.
And the problem is that means that Canyon has level 6 and Kanavi doesn't.
Yeah.
So this top lane is just completely safe.
And in fact, not safe for Zeus if Canyon wants to ult up here.
Yeah.
That is a strong possibility. They don't have vision, though, of where Kanavi is, so I don't think he'll opt for it. As the vision with a controlled lane by Zeus just gives him a ton of power there. Had Ruler heading towards the mid lane for a moment. Ends up losing some CS here.
Actually going to hit the level 6 now, but did miss a couple of minions. So that means that within touching distance is Gumyushi right now. It's only like a 35 gold difference, not really much of anything at all.
The Ornn pick feels really good outside of the lane, obviously, for the ornaments for both Cassiopeia and the Aphelios. And I think that's perhaps part of why they picked it. If you think about the greater composition and how it scales, if you're like, yeah, they can have Rumble, we'll have the counter pick Ornn, and we'll get the ornaments, and we'll play a long game here. It does kind of make sense in that sense. I'd still rather be on the Rumble side if it were up to me, but...
I mean, there's also a Trundle. That's the problem. There's a pulverized flash here out of Delight. Gets Duro into a good position, and Hook connects onto Zeka, but he is still here. That's going to be a kill delivered over to Gumayusi. First blood goes to the Sivir, and that is HLE once again off to a great start.
Yeah, so that HLE early game, looking great. Still robust. Very powerful. Let's see what happens next.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. My problem with Gen.G's composition this time is that I still don't like it. Like, it's still not quite as good. And so now with the early game advantage, HLE are in a really good spot.
But I do think conditions are right for Gen.G to win a team fight and come back and win the game with this composition.
All right. I mean, it's not even with this composition, Wolf. It's with the
players.
no,
exactly. That's you didn't like their comp that much in game 2 either. And
yeah. I mean, we'd still be saying it if they had 5 Teemos, man. Like, they just team fight better. There are too many mushrooms, you know? 5
Teemos would be broken, man. The whole team is blind and the mushrooms are on the ground.
I haven't actually played an all-for-one Teemo game. That would be fun. I played all-for-one Maokai. That's really fun. There's a lot of trees.
Miserable.
That's a lot of saplings, man.
I think that sounds like the opposite of fun.
It's very funny. It does mean that if anyone ever walks into their jungle, they are just probably about to die. That's all right. Keen is going to be running away from Zeus here, which is going to be a theme throughout this game. First rake does go over to Gen.G, though.
Normally, when you commentate a game like this, you set up the stakes of like Hanwha Life, like, okay, great early game, their comp is super strong, they have all the answers, we like their draft better, they got the first dragon, they interrupted some backs here. Look, man, this is such a salt, but it's like, well, you know, I have watched the rest of this series.
Yeah. You do have to add the caveat, don't you? That's just what it kind of feels like.
And actually, the dragon was taken by Gen.G. My mistake on that one. I don't know why I thought Hanwha got a dragon. This try, I'm rooting for him. You know, I want to see this early game blossom into something. Atlas.
We just want more video games. That's the priority.
They'll get the grubs, surely.
Well, Equalizer goes down. Keen is dealing with all of these things that are coming on through, but the Ram is going to come down. There's the knock-up as well, as Keen should be able to help take this kill down, but the Scrap Shield is going to buy a little bit of time. Finally, Zeus does fall as Kanavi comes in and eats the Ornn. Subjugate, pretty powerful when used against a tank, and even in this early stage of the game, that is going to work out very, very nicely. So a 1-for-1 does come on through there in the top lane.
Does interrupt the grubs secure for Kanavi, so he actually only got 1. But Canyon not in a position to take the other 2 right now, so he might still get them later, but was hoping for 3 there, and then that whole situation did develop with Canyon's ultimate coming in.
Yep, a little bit of a debacle.
A little small debacle.
Sundered Sky is now done for Canyon, though, so it might mean that Gen.G can actually go over and grab those next couple of grubs. Does have a bit of jungle to get through as well.
Essence Reaver for Guma done as well. It's really nice early game power for the Sivir. Yeah, I mean, the fact that Keenan just like ate an Equalizer and then he was like, all right, this kind of, you know, tells you what this Ornn is going to do.
The placement was so good. As Ruler is dead, ladies and gentlemen. He is going to flash. For some reason. Does have to grab it in the air. Does try. Oh my gosh! Yeah, does get the ward down. Moonlight Vigil comes on in, and Kanavi is just dead. Zeka finally makes his way forward, and the Aphelios will be taken down. But a 1-for-1 is not what I was expecting there.
Yeah, I mean, the ward placement was quick onto that Lantern.
Yeah.
But, like, if Ruler gets out survived,
there, I would, oh, man.
I'm so happy that Delight was just like, no, this is BS.
Yeah, and honestly, it would have been.
He's like, what's more stupid, the fact that you could deny Thresh Lanterns with wards, or the fact that you almost got out while standing there after I headbutted you to oblivion?
Well, now Gumayusi has a gigantic gold advantage. Let's have a look at this one more time.
I don't want to look at it one more time. Like, Ruler's position here is illegal. Yeah. Duro's like, no, hold on. Grab them and go right. I got a Lantern for you. Ruler's like, okay. Flashes to the right. Ghosts. Runs out here. Gets the Gravitum. Lantern flashed, by the way. And Delight's just like, hell no.
Immediately double warded. And Guma is the one that actually picks up the kill. That's a large reason why he does have such a huge gold advantage. As Delight's now dabbing, having a great time. Ruler's still here towards his bottom side, as we still have just one of the grubs being taken. No one's really done too much else about it, and there's vision for everyone in the area.
Yeah.
More plates still go over though, so Ruler is at least trying to thin this lead
Canyon
a little.
is up there, so maybe he will finish them. There's a ward on them. Maybe he will go over there and say, all right, we'll take the 2.
There are more camps though, so it needs to take the wolves first.
Yeah, the grubs don't give us much money.
Yeah, very important. As Keen will deny a cannon actually. Zeus not actually going to be in lane to pick that one up. And Canyon now will just move on forward to take the remaining grubs.
He
Finally,
found out
they
there was
will
a
be going
ward
down.
in there. He's like, that's extra money. I guess it's worth now. Ruler again?
Yeah, Ruler I think is just dead. He doesn't have any summoner spells. Kanavi makes his way down. The lantern is almost blocked, but it doesn't quite work as now Delight, Unbreakable Will comes on through, and Keen will throw out the round to take down the cow. That is going to do it. It's a fight in the farmhouse as the hook is going to be picked up here onto Kanavi, but he's able to walk it off. He'll just be fine, but that is just a really good counter gank.
Is this a Duro POM angle, actually?
Honestly, after the Bard game, I'm thinking maybe.
And I mean, obviously the Lantern was denied, but the whole setup to try to save Ruler down there as well, like, I am enjoying this Thresh quite a lot.
It's pretty slick.
I'm enjoying less the fact that we're getting closer to 15 minutes and the lead is gone.
Yeah, that
continues to be a small issue. As Ruler here doesn't have sums, but he does have a Lantern, and even with the pillar on top of it, he's able to get out of there. And Delight, his ult is ticking, takes a ton of damage here, and the ult comes through from Keen. Now, this is not free, because they do end up losing a lot of money on the top side to the Rumble of Zeus. See, he got 1 plate up there and got some extra farm, and some farm was lost for Keen, but I think it's worth.
Yep. He's also got his Rook Urn completed now as well, and so things get a bit easier in the isolated 1v1. Does mean that obviously Kanavi is going to still press Subjugate and feel really, really happy. Problematically though, Canyon is now 2-0. So this Pantheon is just so incredibly large. Chovy's teleported in, looking for an angle here as Zeus is on a ward. Gets poisoned there, and there is the exhaust down onto Canyon. They do manage to get the play back onto Delight, and he's just dead before the fight's even really started. It's the secure on the Dragon for Canyon as well as Keen comes in. Equalizer placement is gorgeous though. Zeus is going to pay for it with his life as the Twin Fangs, they do come in, and Duro's going to be taken down. Zeka looks for the kill, but Canyon, he gets himself out. Chovy has enough health bar, and he's able to just kite this one forward. The poison is not going to connect, but this is just ridiculous. Why is Duro the only one dead?
Canyon, I thought perhaps was considering going back in there, but Duro's the only one who dies, and Zeka looks stressed out on the player cam.
I mean, honestly, I'm stressed out too.
I mean, the equalizer was brilliant there, but it's just, unfortunately, just not enough. If it's 2 items on Guma, I think maybe this fight looks a little bit different. But one of the critical parts of this, if we rewind all the way back to that fail on the dive and Delight cranking his ultimate there, means he doesn't have it here. And he's the one who goes in and just disappears. Like, his health bar doesn't exist. He doesn't have ult. Kanavi takes a ton of damage as well. The secure goes over to Genji. And Genji get a little greedy here. They stay a little bit. Zeus' equalizer is beautiful. The box, though, prevents any sort of real follow-up here. And they just kind of kite it out. Zeka looks for the flash here, but hits Chovy and not Canyon. And Chovy just flashes away.
Do you think it was a misclick? Do you think he was trying to hit the Rune Prison onto Chovy, but they were like sharing too many pixels? Sorry, he was trying to hit it on Canyon, but they were sharing pixels, or maybe he thought that he could like use the Flux Overflow to kill Canyon by default anyway.
I mean, I don't. Maybe he thought if we kill Chovy, we can actually maybe like group and take out the turret.
Yeah.
I think maybe that was the reason why he decided to target Chovy there.
And Chovy was maybe more of the threat. Maybe it's just like the I'm going to get more out of this play sort of response.
Exactly, because Canyon
takes a turret.
He can't really, Canyon can't really go back in and impact anything else that happens after that, so maybe that's the reason, but it almost looked like Chovy blocked for Canyon, which is hilarious, but that's not what happened. It was a choice, and it may not have been the correct one.
Well, I mean, hindsight is 20/20. You don't need to go into it. So 1,000 gold lead here for Genji. And Keen has a lead as well.
Yeah, Guma is large, but team fights look like that. Might not matter. And I do think that when we get to 25 minutes plus in this game, Hanwha's comp is incredibly scary with how much power it has and how much scaling it has. I mean, so does Genji's comp, and they will have ornaments, but it's very easy to play Hanwha's comp, especially with Equalizer messing up Genji's positioning and things like that. But they want to win fast, as we've discussed many times. Ooh. I still think it's possible, obviously, for them to win an explosive team fight here in this mid game and do it. But they don't have that lead anymore.
They do not. They in fact have a negative lead. Some would call it a deficit. As it's also a Chemtech ult. I thought it was going to be an Infernal, but here's a train. There's the knock-up. Hook is going to connect, and they'll just chain CC Kanavi. He does get so much of his health bar back though. Moonlight Vigil, not quite enough, and there's the bottom lane biting the dust. They put too much into the Trundle, and he just lives. The King's tribute was paid, and Gumayusi for some reason died. And Kanavi does his shenanigans with the Rift Herald. That should spell the end of this outer turret in the mid lane.
Yeah,
a 2 for 1 in the end.
There. He took a ton of turret damage, but actually you didn't see how Ruler got the kill on him there.
Canyon may kill Zeus, and yes, he does.
All right, well, that was a pretty tricky move. Just ult on top of the Rumble. He's hanging out over there, and he's dead.
Yeah.
All right.
Not that tricky after all.
Yeah.
Now that you say it like that.
Yeah, once you say it, it's like, oh, that's actually pretty obvious. This fight here looked pretty doomed. I was like, I guess Orange the counter to Trundle, by the way, lol. It sets up the CC, but then he actually just lives so much. He gets so much healing.
And then as soon as people start dying, he gets even more health back.
Turret aggro. Turret aggro.
Yeah, he just puts down the Rift Herald, and he's like, I can do my Rift Herald shenanigans now.
Yeah, I still not 100% sure how he died there. I think maybe Calibrum. Anyways. This was very fun. Nice chase here by Canyon. Not as tricky as casters lied about. A specific caster lied about moments before.
Oh, what a silly.
I don't know. I used the wrong adverb.
Do you know what would be really cool, Wolf? If as Keen hits levels 19 and 20, he can add even more ornaments. Like he can have double ornaments. Is that a thing?
I don't only on Christmas.
I don't think it's. Oh, is it? And it's not. Wait. If you kept your Christmas tree up, though, does it count?
No.
Damn it.
Sorry, only once a year.
I put mine away as well. I'm normally really tardy, but not this time.
It's actually much weaker on leap years because you get one extra day where it's not possible to use it.
Wait, is it a leap year this year? Do we have less
of
a February? That's kind of cool.
Wait, no, it's not. It's not a leap year this year.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Right? I don't know.
Do you know anyone with a 29th of February birthday?
No.
No,
I actually don't. Sorry.
I was always really intrigued about that because I really like Pirates of Penzance, and it turned out one of the pirates was actually just really young because he only had one birthday every 4 years.
Yeah, I wonder, like, I don't know. I don't want to get too deep into it. This is a very high-stakes series.
Yeah, it's a really.
But it's an interesting conversation for
we
sure.
We can go back to it. We're filming the POG state later, so maybe we can go into it there.
This is a dragon setup here for Genji that's very difficult to crack. Han will have no vision.
Yep. Ruler has so much range as well as Delight goes in once again, but his health bar is just missing. Gets the pulverize onto Chovy though. That's the turn that they're looking for. But the cow is just going to go down. The Seraph Shield massive here as Chovy's looking relatively safe, and Ruler is just terrifying. HLE now 4 versus 5, and Zeka is in the front line, not where he wants to be. As the hook is going to go wide, Boomerang Blade also not finding the mark as Ruler finding himself in a very good position. That moonshot, my god. The damage out of this Aphelios is just obscene with Storm Surge and Infinity Edge, and Genji, they take Soul Point, they get themselves a kill, and they get another one with no response.
Yeah, Guma's positioning was very safe in that fight, but he wasn't able to offer the damage they needed, and this time the Equalizer really did not get high value. Not to mention that the Alistar ult is super late here for Delight. By the time he uses it, he's taking so much damage. It's not enough to save him because they have full control of that side of the fight. In live, looks like Kanavi might be caught as well. But look at Guma, he just cannot hit the bad guys. You know what I mean? Like, he cannot actually join the fight. Once again, is split up by Genji. Kanavi does survive in live, but Genji, just like they did in Game 2 on the Baron, just completely cut Hanwha in half and make it so difficult for the fight to play out.
Yeah, and as soon as Genji is spread like that, the value of the Sivir just isn't as high, and now the value of the Sivir might be going away. She does have to flash. Good spell shield there from Gumayusi. Make sure he keeps himself alive. But I'm starting to see the value of this on now, starting to come through as Canyon has his Black Cleaver upgraded. Obsidian Cleaver.
Yes.
Is, I believe, what the name was.
Guma has the highest damage in the game. See if that can continue as Duro.
Yeah, that is going to be Zeka getting flayed back. Does have the Ghost, though, so he should be able to catch back up again. Good Bellows breath there from Keen, but he just searingly charges out of the way of the Lantern. He requires no Lantern.
I don't think they can turn this into a Baron. I think if they had gotten a kill there, might have been able to tease the idea.
Ghost. There we go. Gumayusi does still have another Ghost available, though. His Arbot has one.
Yeah, it kind of makes everybody have it.
Yeah, sometimes you just really want to press Ghost, and that's what our 280 carries did just say. Delight does have his ultimate back up again once more.
That's kind of like some 80 carry brain stuff right there where you're like, if he's ghosting, I have to ghost. There might be, like, I might not know what's going on, but we need to make sure that we have even power level because we're fighting Euro Baron and this could actually be game deciding.
Yeah.
You press the button.
Because you press the button, I can now press the button.
It's like he's pressing the button, that means like they actually win this fight, so I gotta press it.
I don't want to do the mental gymnastics. I am just also going to press it.
Yeah. Do not want to be disadvantageous in that skirmish. And it turns out that Han will lose control over the Baron, and now this top turret may just be forfeit here. Chovy whittling away.
And Kanavi?
I mean, he can't really offer anything back here.
This is the problem. In the jungle matchup, the Pantheon is just so strong. As Keen, he's in the mid lane, actually does take a fair bit of damage. Lord Doms is completed here for Gumayusi. You mentioned he's done a lot of damage so far this game. That will continue because he can cut through this on, especially after he gets subjugated. As Chovy, he will decide to take the turret down.
He's like, Chovy, please take the turret.
Yeah, Kanavi's like, come on, man, no, come back.
Like, send the minions to us, okay? I don't want that turret alive any longer.
Yep.
I think the damage for Guma has been high. He's obviously a Sivir. He has LDR.
I mean, he's 4-1-1. He's set up.
He is pretty huge, but the damage needs to be effective, right? If he is just hitting a front line and almost killing an Ornn while the rest of his team is disappearing very quickly, especially his Alistar, then it doesn't necessarily matter how much damage he's done. It's not necessarily his fault, but the team comp here for HLE needs to work together. And I mentioned before with the Rumble, you know, there isn't a whole lot of setup to equalize one person in particular, right? You kind of just use it as a zoning tool, but if the enemy team has passed you in tempo, they just walk past it or just ignore it entirely.
Yeah, the thing is, like, if it's Delight going in and then a pillar in a good spot, then the equalizer can be brilliant in this game.
Just a lot of
Zeka's follow-up as well on a priority target. Like, if they do have their ducks in a row, it can be devastating. The problem is, even though the placement from Zeus has been great, like you're saying, that layering of CC hasn't necessarily been there, so the walk strategy has been that little bit more powerful. Not to mention upgraded Swifties that Chovy has gone for on the Cassiopeia, just finally allowed back into the shoe shop.
Yeah, he was like, I guess I don't need to go Ghost. I'll just go TP and have this.
Yep, Swifties, permanent Ghost. There you go.
This is Chemtech Soul for Genji if they get this, by the way, which is pretty insane value for them with this Ornn and even the Aphelios.
And the Cassio, honestly, with Seraphs.
Yeah, you're right, man. I mean, this is actually kind of crazy how much damage they'll be able to do.
Ooh, Keen. Ooh, just barely. Yep. They're not going to be able to find that there, but the observing, gorgeous. Beautiful.
They're just trying to chip away at this turret before the dragon spawns. HLE have no prio here whatsoever.
All right, Canyon does dive on top of Kanavi here.
Gets a pillar cooldown.
He can just take his lantern to get himself back. That might be Delight looking for an opportunity, but he gets hooked once again. Pulverized the air. Just looked a little bit frustrated.
He was
mad.
Why? Angry cow.
Yep, very angry cow. Hook going to go wide yet again, though. So support's just kind of missing some buttons. But
I mean,
wait,
Atlas,
hang
they're
on.
just going to try to do Baron here.
I guess.
I think
Genji may just get the soul, and then they can probably ult Canyon in if they do want to try and contest for this.
I don't know about this one, Hanwha. Very risky.
Yeah, they get the information here as Canyon's going to press that button. The train going to leave the station as well. As in goes the Pantheon. It's going to be a 50-50 as he can take the lantern as well. He's into the pit, and there's the steal for Canyon. The hook goes wide yet again, but the cow is mincemeat, and Canyon's still alive for such a long time. Chovy stopping the retreat here as he's just slithering out the back of the pit, but that is still a couple of kills. Petrifying Gaze catches Guma. He does use the spell shield pretty well, but Zeka's so close to dead, and Ruler says good night to the rest of HLE, and probably sends them home from the LCK Cup.
It looks like HLE is not going to play in Atlas. That was the back-breaking moment, and it starts off again with Delight getting caught, not in this fight, but in the previous one where he had to use his ultimate, so now he is just not durable. Look at how quickly he dies here, and the Baron is stolen. Delight's off on the other side trying to buy space here. And this fight is otherwise fairly decent here for Guma, right? Like, he has these low health bars. He's trying to whittle them down. He's trying to get in there. Look at how low Keen goes. But then Chovy just says, we didn't just steal a Baron. We won the game. Watch this.
Yeah. He saw that angle. And getting that one Twin Fang was almost enough for Guma. But then Ruler was still alive. So he's dead.
야, 지훈아, 너 뭐야? 맛있는데? 좋은데?
He was very happy about that.
Yep. Something was delicious. Let's just say that. As HLE fans.
In tatters, man.
Absolutely. It is only a 4,500 gold lead, but there is now Baron for another minute and a half, and this Chemtech Soul, often we meme about it, but for this composition, it's scary. Also, as time goes on, Keen dishes out thousands and thousands of gold to Gen G players.
Yeah, and if you can't win that fight, and now you don't, you're losing your structures, you can't get back out on the map, can you win any fight in this game?
Keen needs to make an ornament for Chovy and for Ruler, like right now. They're missing 2,000 gold because he just hasn't pressed the button.
Yeah, it's
right.
kinda
He's
crazy.
level 16.
Yeah, he also like gave it to Pantheon.
Yeah, because he was like right there. Keen is now going to give one to Ruler. There we go. And now gives one to Chovy. Finally. Okay, there's that upgraded Infinity Edge. We are going to see... Okay, never mind. That is just... Okay, just gets out. Sometimes you just press R and everything is A-okay. Chovy didn't actually get his item, though, as we can see.
Yeah, not quite.
It's just Ruler that demands to have his ornament delivered.
Ruler is level 15. He is pretty big. He is ready to fight. He has Red Gun here and his ultimate as well with the Infernum, so chasing this is not really viable here for HLE, but they are able to, with a scrappy take of the Baron, keep their inhibitors alive. The base isn't broken. In fact, all inhibitor turrets fairly healthy here as well. Kuma picks up IE.
That's a lot of damage.
They have to win this game if this is going to be the game that gets them into play-ins in 6 minutes.
Yeah.
And with all of these structures up, I just don't see it. So, I mean, if you win it, you get another
They just win the game.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's all they need to do. And then they can win the other one in any time they like.
That's right.
It doesn't matter at all. You just need to win. That's the main thing. Is Canyon, who's looking at the bottom lane, did get interrupted, but still yeah. He's out.
There are 5 people on me, and they got a realm warp. And I'm out of here.
Yeah. He just pressed the button. I thought it looked like he got interrupted from something because he was looking over the other side. He's like, I could probably ult in here. And then he goes back to seeing 4 bad guys and then just presses on his mini-map and he's fine.
And that might have been a little front-loaded with the CC there. As Keen has finally given over that upgraded Seraphs to Chovy.
Yep.
And... what is the good news for Hana? Like, what's the good story? What's the in? Like, they're huddled in their base and they're using Silverwave to buy time.
Their Nexus is still alive. That is the positive.
Okay,
it's
so
also they still have 3-4 minutes.
So besides that, what is the good news?
It's not a 10,000 gold lead. It's only a 6,000 gold lead.
Okay. All right.
They can still fight for Elder in a minute and a half.
It is insane to me, but I mean, this is the format that everybody in their group played through. Yeah, they struggled in this group quite substantially, but it is crazy to me that this team might be playing the last minutes of League of Legends here in LCK Cup, defending LCK Cup and First Stand champions.
And it was like, in First Stand and LCK Cup, HLE was so dominant.
Yeah.
Like, they were such a scary team.
We were calling them like the Fearless Kings. They figured it out.
Yeah.
You know, we're seeing the Vladimir. Everything was...
They were doing all
so
the cool
exciting.
things.
They came off of, at that time, of course, the win, LCK Summer. Things have changed here.
Well, now the train is going to come on through. Maybe this is the last call. There's the hook back. And the Trundle is just dead before he can do anything at all. Canyon takes the Lantern Ride to get himself to safety. These ricochets are cutting them to pieces.
And it's just such a tragedy. Every time Keen presses R, like somebody dies. Canyon's very low here, but he has GA, so he doesn't really care.
Yeah, it looks like Gen G still want to try and find an angle.
I mean, Elder spawns in 20 seconds. Maybe the flip angle and the one team fight from that could get Hanwha the win in time. It could happen.
Yeah, Grand Starfall is actually not available as Canyon did manage to stop the back. The play is so good, though, to deny. Petrifying Gaze doesn't do the most work, but Keen gets to Gumushi into the backline, but he does flash his way out. The problem is, though, his range is too low. It's a triple kill for Ruler, and Gumushi cannot do anything by himself in this bottom lane with an angry conductor looking to take him down. Breathe some fire. Look at that skin. Isn't it just fantastic? As Keen will be able to demonstrate it one more time in the POM view that we will get later on today.
I don't know. It's crazy. Keen got his first career Penta, and yet my vote finger still kind of gets drawn to the support vote again here.
Oh, and we have the dangerous double support English desk as well at the space. Oh dear, Ruler almost dies to that turret, but it's looking like that 3-0 that everyone was dreading. And HLE This was their final game at the LCK Cup. Gen G will send them home early and save the lives of the pros.
And KT Rolster will be in play-ins. Hanwha Life Esports will be the first team out, last place in their group.
I can see Cuz's face now.
Before we change this format, last year around, remember that T1 Hanwha, and Group Baron is the group battle winner.
Yeah.
The last time around, it was that matchup, that one best of 3 between Hanwha and T1 that everyone was super upset about in the format, right? Like, why is one of our best teams going to get eliminated right away? And it was Hanwha the victors then, but today, they'll be the first to go home. Absolutely wild. Like, yeah. And the thing is, most people expected it. Like, as much as like at the beginning of this week, people were saying it's pretty likely, but even last week, we were like, I think Hanwha's not going to get out. And we were kind of struggling to quantify it. And now that it's real in front of your eyes, you're still just kind of starstruck by the fact that Gen G just didn't drop a single game this entire tournament.
Nope.
Not a single one.
They still haven't, and they are looking like they are poised to get it done further forward. They also win the group battle between Baron and Elder, so they have now also qualified T1 into the playoffs. B&K FureX will be your #1 team heading to the playoffs as well, and that means HLE are heading home early as the one team eliminated before we get to the play-in stage. It's crazy that at the start of today, HLE could have been the leaders, skipping play-ins with a 3-0 here.
It's not about...
And instead, they are just going home.
It's not about what happened today, because, in my mind, because Gen G 3-0'd here, but they also 2-0'd everybody else, right? Like, Hanwha they're losing to Gen G 3-0. I think anyone would have lost to Gen G 3-0, right? But it's what happened in the Bro game. It's what happened in the other losses that they were handed by the hands of Nongshim, for example, earlier on in the season. That is why they are in this position. And they did not look like the strongest team in their group, not even close. They look stronger than Bro, but the rest of the team just couldn't, the rest of the teams in their group couldn't get it done, and that is the format. Them's the rules. See you in the beginning of LCK 2026.
Yeah, have a good break, I guess. And hopefully the scrim's going to work out. As now, we're going to check out some of these team fights. Gen G limping out of this one. Honestly, for me, if it had have been an HLE win, the POM would have been so easy. Because Zeus played an amazing game of League of Legends in so many of these. But it just was never really enough. Guma, where did he die to the turret?
Oh, he just took an extra, he just got aggro again.
Ricochet aggro probably got him.
Yeah, okay.
That's a bit of a shame. That happens.
Now at least that mystery is solved. Doesn't feel good, but yeah, it's the same pattern in all 3 games with a pretty strong, promising start into tragedy in the mid game. And that's kind of how every loss for Hanwha looked this entire LCK Cup. This moment here.
Yeah, I mean, that moment was absurd because that was 3 versus 2. Chovy gets the perfect ult angle to wipe out all 3 of them.
I don't think I've ever said this about this player in his career, and he started on the Bros, but I think Delight kind of got gapped today by Duro.
I would agree.
The much stronger support in this series.
I feel like there has been like an elephant looming in the room, and it has been Delight having a pretty wanting performance so far today, but that's okay. I don't need to talk about it because, HLE, even with Gumyushi doing double that of almost everybody else's damage on the Rift, it's not enough if you can't get the kills.
Not effective damage, yeah, you can't get the kills, it doesn't matter. Gen G, amazing performance, and even though I really wanted to give it to Duro, I did ultimately give it to Keen. He got his first career penta, his Gnar game was amazing, and so he picks it up here. I'm sure there will be at least 2 support votes.
And also, he didn't pick Rumble, and they still won. And I think that is kind of ridiculous in unto itself.
There were some choices Gen G made in draft in the series, which made me feel like they were trying to play on hard mode.
Yeah, I was thinking like, wait, do they just want to have like extra on-stage practice time? Because that last draft was difficult to win. But when we got into it, I mean, the Pantheon has been very strong during this tournament. I think maybe this is just Gen G's read on what the meta is at the moment. And that is, if you can get your hands on that Pantheon, it can actually trump the power of the Rumble because there isn't as much of that setup CC.
They have so
and Kane
much...
plays a pretty amazing on as well.
They have so much trust in Ruler as well with the comps that they gave him to play around as well in the Jin game and the Aphelios game here. Very tricky, but he piloted it incredibly well, and Keen just gets value. He just generates it, man. In this case with ornaments, but also he was the one who set up all the picks in these fights. Like his Ornhorn was how they got every single fight. Like,
oh, it's kind of ridiculous that he keeps managing to put it together. So Gen.G going to win it for Group Baron, and now it is Keen for the interview. Let's throw it over.
Thank you very much, guys. This is here for the POM interview translation. We're here with Keen on the side of Gen.G, who just secured Baron Group's victory. The final winner is Group Baron. Going undefeated, you get to advance to playoffs round 2. How do you feel? I'm really happy about Baron Group winning and just making it to the playoffs just directly is also just as amazing. As it was the last match of Super Week, there were just too many possible outcomes. What was on the players' minds coming into today's match, and did you expect a 3-0? To be honest, if we were to lose today, it would have been very disappointing, and so we actually tried our best to make sure that we win today. In terms of preparation, I think we tried to focus on what the enemy's comfort picks are, what they are good with. And yeah, everyone's been saying that you really cooked with your draft, so despite giving key picks, like Azir, Orianna, or Rumble, you kept taking picks that Hanwha is good at. So what was the main concept of the draft? I don't think there's much that I can say about the draft. I feel like it's really our coaching staff, their influence and their impact. In Game 1, you got the first pentakill of your career! Let's give it up for Keen! Of course, we have to watch this replay. It's right here. Is this your first pentakill? I had no idea, so how did it feel? You know, when it comes to top players, it's actually really rare to get pentakills. And I felt like I would not get it. I was not expecting it, but you know, Canyon actually was generous enough to give it to me. And you said, ah, yummy! So how delicious was it? It was very delicious. It actually felt slightly different from when Ruler screams for his penta, and it was rather wholesome, so how different was it? I feel like whenever it comes to Ruler, whenever he gets one kill, he just immediately goes to scream for his... So I think that's what the difference is. And in Game 2, Hanwha took the lead and the game got a bit dicey, but you guys bounced back without a problem. Taking a look at this replay, this is what locked your win, so can you tell us your read on this game? I think because we lost the lead, we had to make sure that we win the team fight, and I feel like this angle was really good. This was such beautiful spacing for you, so any advice? You know, Gnar, when it comes to Gnar, you actually get to increase your range over time, so I think it's just you have to honestly keep looking in front and back. And in Game 3, if the Rumble was to scale, it would have been pretty tricky. So what was your read on this matchup? You know, it's always been a saying where a Rumble's counter is ganking. So I think we just tried to be mindful of that. And it wasn't easy, but I think my teammates did so well that it made it really comfortable for me in the end. And so all 5 members of the team did their part. So Keen, who would you pick as the POM today? I think Canyon was able to pull off those steals in those key moments, so I would give a POM to Canyon. And as the first place of the winners group, you will head straight to playoffs round 2. So in the remaining time, what will you refine? I feel like even right now, we're actually trying to build our chemistry. I think we're just gonna have to focus on the draft and just being prepared for whichever match comes up. And any message over to your fans? You guys are always supporting me. I'm really grateful for that. And for the playoffs, we'll make sure that we are well prepared to make sure that we can continue winning. Thank you so much. And that is the end of the interview with Keen, and back to the desk. Thank you.
And the group portion of the LCK Cup 2026 is over. It is Group Baron with the victory, but I think the shocking news is the potential reality that has come to fruition. It is Hanwha Life Esports are out of the LCK Cup and out of First Stand contention after winning it last year, both LCK Cup and First Stand.
I think even in the most crazy scenarios, no one would have anticipated this. When the year started, no one would have anticipated this is how it would have panned out. Even when teams get slow starts, you know. And I think obviously some rough performances. And today, I think they really fought as hard as they could. Gen.G were a massive opponent to go up against, and I think really did end up outclassing them. But there were some games where they did get close, but I think it's a combination of today's results and also ultimately some poor results they had throughout the group stage, you know, dropping games against some teams like Bro, they dropped a game against, the loss against Nongshim, which led to them being in this position.
I mean, this can always happen in the beginning of the season, especially like you might think if you get 5-star players in the team, it cannot work every single time, you know. So it's all about the synergy, it's all about the communication between the players. So I think they just need to work on what they want to look for the rest of the season, because it's just the beginning, right? We consider LCK and the whole season of LoL Esports as marathon, so it really depends on how they want to figure it out. And I think for Gen.G, I think they just fixed a little bit of issue coming up this season, especially about the draft, Ryu coming in. I think it's more stable, solid, play for winning lane, draft for winning lane. I think that's why Gen.G looks even more stronger this season.
Yeah, I mean, Gen.G just are on a completely another level, but I think the reason why it's such a big talking point is it's not that they lost in playoffs or they lost in the finals. They're the first team in the world out for First Stand. Like, it is just kind of astonishing, and they won't play another competitive game until April. Until April, when LCK regular season starts. So a lot of conversations will happen. I'm sure a lot of growth will happen by these world champions, by these international champions. But Hanwha Life Esports out on February 1st. Let's take a look at the comments here in this 3-0 victory where Keen was your POM. There it is, 10 out of 13. Duro picking up 2. And 1 shout to Chovy by Right Media. Let's get to the comments here. Ox, what'd you have?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I feel like Keen is just like the Swiss Army knife top laner. He's so versatile. You know, he played Mage Game 1, got Pentakill, played the Bruiser Norm, which is a constant threat, and then he'll let them take the Rumble, he'll go the tank on, and I just feel like Keen just has mastery of so many champions, such a deep champion pool, and will just bring out anything the team needs and just be, you know, I didn't say jack of all trades, because that sounds like you're pretty good at everything. He's just master at everything.
Yeah, I definitely like that one there. What'd you have for us?
I mean, I think every champion Duro played today was kind of tricky. I think even though we consider Nico is overpowered in the bot lane, we've seen so many players ruining those abilities in the laning phase. So, like, I think the first game was like just gapped on the bot lane, and also Bard and Thresh, we consider that champion as a like tricky champion to pull it off, and it cannot work that well on stage, but he did on stage and against Delight, so it was really impressive.
Normally we would say, it's just a support, voting for a support, but Duro had himself a day, including that very important Baron fight, which we'll take a look at in a little bit, where he gets rid of the Alistair Unbreakable Will, which then forced the awkward trade. Let's see what else that we had here. 4 comments. We have Wolf with "No one can pass the Keen test." Keen test comment always does well, especially when he's get himself a pentakill. So like that one there by Wolf. Let's take a look at what our Korean analyst had. Prince saying all players played well in their lanes, but Duro did well in all lanes. That's cool.
You know, I'm also often noticing Prince is appreciating Duro. He's often the person when I'm like, Duro's had a great series.
Yeah.
Not seeing many Duro votes. It's often Prince. He gets it. You know why? Why does he get it?
Why does he get
Because
it?
he's a bot laner. He understands, right? He sees that. He's like, I would love to have a support like
He's
Duro.
the knower.
He gets it. He's a knower, right? So I appreciate that.
All right, Prince, a knower, and I think we have a couple more here from the Korean side. Cloud Templar, congrats on the Pentakeen. We look forward to seeing more. Absolutely.
Yeah, top lane pentas are rare. They don't happen that often. So, you know, it's a big 80 carry pentas, especially when it was Zeri meta, they happen all the time.
I mean, to be fair, I think Aurora is a champion. Maybe you might get Penta, like another Penta, you know? Because, like, it's not a top lane champion, you know? So, I mean, that's...
But a top laner got it. Why are you trying to take away points for the top laner who got a Penta? And it's so
I mean,
how many Korea pentas do you have?
So listen, guys. What I'm saying is that I think he should play more those kind of champions. Something like Varus top, nothing in the top lane, like boring top lane champions. You know? I want to see him playing top Varus, AP Varus, or like top Vayne. He's gonna get Penta again if he plays that.
Don't bring back the Vayne. We all know what happened.
Why are we
with
moving the bar?
Yeah.
He got a Penta. Let's celebrate that. After we take a look at the highlight here from this game number 3, where Gen G forced Hanwha Life Esports into just such a difficult trade.
Yeah, this was a situation where HLE go for the Baron Rush, and it felt very forced, and you saw the slow approach from Gen G. Canyon confident he can get in no matter what because he has the ultimate. Ends up getting the steal, but it's a fight afterwards which is just so devastating. And I love as well the fact that we get this sort of reposition that ends up coming out from Chovy when he gets the long flank around the side.
Well, thanks for breakdown, Ox, but I'm gonna speak out. I think they meant a bull here. I think there's no point to rush Nash here. Like, they lost Alice ulti, and they know Nash is tankier, and they just knew that they're gonna lose the game here.
Oh, what a flash.
Like, it was too optimistic.
It was a bit desperate.
I mean, that's fair, you know? Imagine, like, losing 2 games in a row with the early leads, you know? I can see that. But it's like, it's such a depression, like, to lose like this.
It's tough, but for Gen G, it's just par for the course. Still undefeated, not only in series score, but in game scores. We take a look at today's results. It is a clean 3-0, 1-2-3 for Gen G. This is a great one, as actually we're going to take a look at our best ceremonies of the week with that update.
All right.
And here it is, the best celebrations from the victors.
What do we have? Oh, man, of course. Of course. My boy, Yukal. He always does that. Does cheeky face as well. I like it.
Good vibes.
Good vibe in the building. And Taeyun.
The pop-off series from Taeyun.
With people watching, by the way.
celebration.
With people watching, yes. Friendly hands.
And Lahizi. Sunny with the gunny going down? Is that what that is?
All the combinations, by the way. What is happening? And Dora? So adorable, man!
Oh no!
So cute!
This is a tough one.
It's so cute!
Hashtag that's my Doran.
Oh my gosh!
I don't know.
That's so cute!
Because Lahen's triple comboed.
I think Lahens and Doran frontrunners for me.
Oh my god.
Sorry, UCal. Usually it's a UCal, like, he's in the mix, but that's good. Let us know in the chat who is the winner for this week's best ceremony. You can go ahead and vote across multiple different platforms. As we take a look at the match results, it is 3 more game wins and another series win for Gen G. They remain perfection here in the LCK and win the group battle for Group Baron.
Well, expected result. You can see it from the predictions as well, but not in this way.
We were all in line here. All of us were 3-0.
Oh yeah.
Here, we're knowers. Get in.
Well,
we're knowers.
No, no. You say all, not Jason.
Oh!
Jason said 3-1. So, whole global side except Jason. Sorry.
Ox sausages in the chat. Ox's job security is a little ox sausage right now.
Oh no.
As it was 3-0s here for Gen G. Let's take a look at the standings now at the conclusion of the group battle. It was Group Baron turn, winning 16-14, which means Gen G and T1 accelerate and skip straight to playoffs round 2. That means the #1 seed from Group Elder will make it to playoffs as well, which is B&K FearX based off of game score. They're ahead of D plus Kia, who are your first place in the play-in. So it'll be 1 and 2 getting a bye in play-ins, 3 playing 6, 5 playing 4, and we say goodbye to Hanwha Life Esports.
Yep, so there you have it laid out in front of you. I think some interesting matches potentially ahead of us in this play-ins, and as well the fact that we have 2 teams from Korea going to first stand, 2 slots ahead of us. Obviously, Gen G and T1 do look like the favorites to take those slots, but with 2 available, potential for upsets obviously a lot higher, and with HLE already out, I think a lot of teams eyeing up the potential to make it into those slots.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you're a Brion fan, you gotta be thankful towards Gen G and T1, and you gotta prepare something to bring some fresh idea. I mean, you got another chance. You got one more chance to stay in. So, I mean,
at least on life.
Yeah.
If there's any Brion fans out there,
yeah,
how do you feel right now?
Wow, 0-5 and playing still alive. That's right. Bros and KT, the real big winners, as we take a look at the play-ins bracket as well. For challengers, you have those matches with T1 and Bro as your teams.
So yeah, if you're a HLE fan, just check out challenges.
Yeah.
Still alive there.
By the way, Crony did the costume last time?
Yeah.
All right. Is he gonna do it again?
Who? Chronic. You know, Chronicler?
You know Chronicler?
You know?
Who loves like DK?
The apartment that you're in now?
Oh, Mao House.
Mao.
Oh, sorry.
Or Mao House.
Mao House.
Or Mao House.
Yeah, that person, yeah.
Yeah. Again, what a group battle it was. A format that will be discussed for years, I imagine, and it came down to the final game, the final day, the final fight. It was a heck of a group stage, but it's now complete. We have the 9 teams moving on in the LCK Cup, and you won't want to miss all the action. We're also recording Pog State as well, so you don't want to miss that later on next week. On behalf of everyone here at the LCK Cup, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week for play-ins. Bye-bye!